I built an amazing RSI trading strategy, but there's only one problem. I hate manual trading. So we are going to see what the results are when we turn the strategy into Python code and backtest it over 800,000 candles. We will then go over all of the results and then pick the absolute best one to go live with. But most importantly, you don't want to miss this because one of the results I'm going to show you has over $12,000 in profit, and I'm going to show it to you. Yes, you heard me right. Live. You will learn how to actually go live with this strategy. If you can make it all the way through this tutorial, then you will be able to see all of the trades that this strategy made and the cumulative P&L, so that way you know you're getting the best results. If you don't watch the tutorial, well, then you get nothing. This works on Forex, stock market, or crypto, so just follow along with what I'm doing, and then when you're done, you can change the asset to whichever one you would like. I can't believe I'm giving this away for free, so please make sure that you pay attention to everything in this video. Alright, so let's get started. The first thing that you will need to do is pip install Quant Freedom, okay? In this video, I'm using Quant Freedom 0.1.1. This is very important because it's possible that if you are, and I'm also using Python 3.10.10. All right, these are important because maybe you're going to run into some errors if it's later on and you're watching this or whatever. And so if you are running into errors, you need to go down below in the description box, go to all my links, follow me on Twitter, and then join the Discord community or Telegram. I prefer Discord, and ask your questions there. Okay, ask your questions there, because if you run into any issues, it could be something that's really easy to solve, or maybe there's a problem on my end, but you need to ask your questions there. Again, you go down the link in the description box, all my links. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord community, ask your questions there. And I'm also, super important, also giving away lessons for free to the people who qualify. So if you guys are interested in that, again, you go to the Discord, say, hey, I want you to build my strategy for me, or I'm looking to hire somebody to build a strategy, or I want you to build it for free. Do I qualify? All of that, you go into the Discord and ask me there. Okay. And one more thing before we start. The structure of this video, if you go down in the links in the description box below, you'll see the timestamps. And in the very beginning, we first just go over how to build the strategy. But if you don't really know that much about Python, if you check the description, you will see that there's sections towards the middle and end of the video where I teach you about Python and the basics, and then I teach you about my actual backtester. But for the people who are already familiar and just want the information and, you know, hey, show me the strategy, all of that stuff is going to be first. Okay, so again, any questions, you're going down, you're going to the Discord and asking me questions there. But enough of me yapping and talking. Let's go ahead and actually start the project. So for this section, we're going to be going over exactly what you need to import. Then we'll download some of the candles. We'll download the candles that we need. We'll set the parameters. We'll create the indicator. We'll create some extra stuff that we need in order to actually create the signals. We'll create the signals, and then we'll plot everything so it ends up looking like this right here, where we're able to see where our below line is and every single time that there's an entry signal. All right, for this video, you'll need to have import numpy as np, import plotly.graphObjects as go, from quantfreedom.enums import candle body type, from quantfreedom.helperfuncs import dl xl ex candles, and from quantfreedom.indicators trading view RSI underscore TV, and then this is just for me for the print options, but you guys can do this as well in order to make it so that way you don't get like 50 million. Well, that way you can just see if you're trying to print out anything in Numpy. Okay, for the RSI is below, that equals 50, and then RSI length equals 14. And so let's go ahead and run that cell. So I think we'll run this. All right, and then the next thing that we have to do is we have to actually create the RSI. So let's do RSI equals RSI TV, and here we'll do source equals close. Let's it world. Oh, I didn't even download the candles here, so I guess we should probably do that first. So we'll do candles equals DL EX candles. The exchange that I'm going to choose is just Mufex, but again, you guys can choose whatever exchange you want, but I would suggest follow along with everything that I do so you can understand how it works, and then you can go and like change exchanges or do whatever you want to do. So symbol is going to be BTC USDT. Then we'll do time frame equals 30M, and then we'll have candles to download. Candles to download will just be 300. We will run this. Well, we're not going to run this, but the next thing I'll do is we'll do date times equals candles. Then have this. So we're saying give me all the rows. Candle body type is going to be timestamp. And then we're going to do dot as type is going to be date time 64 ms. And then close prices equals. And we'll just grab this right here. And we'll change this to close. So now we have our candles. And now we can do our source is going to be close prices, and then our length is going to be RSI length. Here, what the next thing that we'll need to do is we're going to need to actually, what is it called? Round the RSI, because it you know, we don't need like 50 million different places on the decimal point or whatever it's called. Round, and then we're going to do RSI 1. So here we have the RSI. So you can see here, I have this set to display 2 floating points, and so here we're only just going to have 1 because we rounded. So it's fine. It's just a display thing. All right, and the very next part that we'll need to do is we're going to have to create the previous RSIs. Here we need to go ahead and create the previous RSI. So we got to do RSI. I just do prev RSI equals np.roll. Then we're going to roll the RSI by 1. Then the next thing that we'll do is we'll do previous RSI. The first thing is going to be equal to np.nan. Then we will duplicate this, and I'll just put prev. And okay, what is going on here? Can I please get back to what I was doing? And we will roll the previous RSI like this. And so now we have the RSI, and then we shift it 1, and then we shift it 1 again, because that's how we need to do the is rising or is falling. All right, now that we have our previous and all that stuff, let's go ahead and start to create the actual strategy here. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to do prev RSI, or prev RSI is greater than previous RSI. And so that's going to tell us basically when we have an RSI, let's say that it's here, and then the next RSI is going to be down here. Our next RSI value is going to be here. So that's going to show you that we're falling. And then now we need to know when we are rising. So we first need to be falling, and then we need to be rising, okay? And so the second part of that would be, we would just do RSI is greater than previous RSI. And so what we need to do, now that you see that, is we'll just do falling equals this. Then we will have rising equals this. And we'll have is below equals RSI is less than the RSI is below. Okay, and so now we have all of our things that we need. And so for our entries, we're going to do np.where is below and falling and rising, because we need all of these things to happen. All right, we need to have the previous falling. We need to have the previous one to the current RSI rising, and then we also need to be below what we set for the RSI is below. And so we have all that, and you will see that we need to do. Wait, I don't even think. Oh, okay, yeah. So we have to have true. We have to have false. Okay, So now we have our entries, which will look like this. We have a bunch of trues and falses here set up. And the next thing that we need to do is we need to create our entry signals. And so that's just going to be for our, whatever it's called. What is that thing called? Our graph. So we'll have entry signals equals np.where entries. We'll put the RSI np. Okay. So we're basically just saying where true, put the RSI value, where false, put np.nan. So we have our entry signals, and we'll just need exit prices, even though we're not actually going to be creating any exit prices. We still need this for the backtest and everything else to work properly. So we're going to just do this. So what we're doing here is we're just doing create an array the size of RSI and fill it with np.nans and for exit prices. Okay, and so from there, the next thing that we'll do is we'll actually start to create the actual graph. Okay, now so we are going to create this fig equals go.figure and run that. And so now we're going to create the add scatter. And so here we'll just do x equals date times, and then we'll do y equals RSI. And we'll just do name equals RSI and line color equals yellow. This. And so here you can see we have our RSI looking nice. So now we have to do fig.add scatter. And we'll do x equals date times. Y equals entry signals. And mode is going to be equal to markers. And name is going to be entries. Marker equals dict. I'm going to say size equals 12. Symbol equals circle. And color is going to equal hashtag 00f6ff, and that's supposed to be in quotes. Line equals dict, and then width equals 1, and color equals quotes dark slate gray, and we'll do that. And so now you have this. All right. So now we have our stuff showing up here. And so now we need to, if you want to, you don't have to add this line, but you know, just for right now, it makes it look a lot easier to understand where the below is at. H line, add H line. So here we'll do y equals RSI is below. Opacity equals 0.3, and line color equals red. All right, so now we add this. Now it just shows you where the 50 line is, right? It just shows you really easily the separation of that, and so now what we have to do is just go fig dot update layout. And here we have height. I just like to have my height, if I could spell, to 500. Then we'll have x-axis range slider visible equals false. And then we'll have title equals dict. Then we'll say blah, 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 blah. X equals 0.5. So we're saying put it in the middle of the graph. Text is going to be along signals. Then we're going to do x anchor equals center. And we'll say font equals dict. And we're going to say size equals 50. And I feel like there's an extra something there. And so here we just run that. And now we have it saying long signals Boom, bam. So we've basically just done everything that we talked about, and we've created the strategy. And so I guess that's the end of this section. In this section, we're going to be actually creating the strategy Python file. We'll create the actual class right here. We'll create this named tuple class. We will set the init. Then we'll create all of the long functions that we need. Then we'll come down here, we'll create all of the short functions that we need if we're shorting, and then we'll also create the plot function that we have already created, and we're just putting it all within a class. For this section, we're going to be creating the Python file for the strategy, and so what you'll need to do is, I guess you can pause here and basically read all of this and copy this in and or type it in or whatever I'm trying to say. And so you'll create your Python file. You'll make sure that you import all of these things. You'll set your logger equals get logger info like this. You'll create a class called indicator settings arrays, and then you're gonna send it named tuple. And then here's where we're going to put our RSI is above, RSI is below, RSI length, and they're all going to be np.arrays. These are all going to be arrays here, okay? And so once we're done doing that, I'm just calling this class RSI rising falling, and I'm sending it strategy. And from there, I have pass. So once you have done all of that, we'll go ahead and start with the creation of the init for the strategy here. So by that I mean we're going to do def init, and we're going to remove this super part here, and we're going to send it long short. That's going to be a string, and we'll have RSI length, and we'll have that as an int. Then we'll have RSI is above, and that's going to be np.array. Oh my god, it's so annoying having it like this. Let's do pass that. There we go. All right. And so this is going to equal np.array 0. And we'll duplicate that, and we'll just create this as below. And so here, that's what we'll be sending to this class. And again, if you guys have any questions about any of this stuff, you're headed over to the Discord, or you are, well, yeah, head over to the Discord and ask any questions there. So the first thing that we'll need to do is we'll do self.long_short equals long short. And then the next thing that we'll do is self.log folder equals os dot. Now, I'm going to copy this over from my other file. And so what this is you can specify exactly where you want your log folder to be created. So for me, I've basically set it like this. And so what would end up happening is that's basically saying inside of the root folder. So it's going to say, I have a file right here. I'm going to go outside of this folder and go into the root folder. Okay, so I'm just going to go up one folder. That's what this says. And inside of this folder, I'm going to create my logs, because that's what we're going to, so the log folder is going to be this root here. So inside of this root here, we're going to create the log folder right here. Okay. And so it's going to be up to you to decide how you want to do it. And you're going to have to understand about, if you need to look up like os.path or absolute path or any of this other information in order to create the correct path. But this right here for me is going to say, grab me the file, give me the directory of the file right here, and go up one. And so here the file is going to be here, and then we're going to go up one to this right here, and then that's where the log is going to be. All right. And so that's important for that. So we're going to do cart arrays. Let me get rid of this right here. Cart arrays equals cart product. And we're going to say named tuple equals indicator settings array. And we're going to say RSI length is going to equal RSI length. And then here we're going to say RSI is below. It's going to be RSI is below. And then the last one, RSI is above, it's going to be equal to RSI is above. And so that's going to create our Cartesian product of all of the possibilities that we have are going to select here. Okay? And then the next thing that we need to do is we need to do self.indicator settings arrays is going to be indicator settings array. So we'll just put the colon this. Then we're going to say indicator settings array. And we're going to say RSI is above equals cart arrays 0. Well, let me make sure that. So it has to be in this order like this, okay? It has to be exactly in this order like so. So make sure you have that. This right here, the Cartesian product, doesn't, well, I guess it does matter. So let's just make sure everything is in the order, right? So we're going to have RSI is above, RSI is below, RSI length, okay? So everything has to be in this correct order or else it's not going to work. RSI is above, RSI is below, RSI length. RSI is above, RSI is below, RSI length. RSI is above, we'll do this. RSI is below, and then we'll have this as it's going to be 1, and then we'll have RSI length. It's going to be our cart arrays product. It's going to be 2, and we're going to do as type. And we're going to do mp.int. Okay, and so this is going to be a named tuple of our array right here. Okay, so there's that. And we're going to be able to see more about this later on once we get to the actual backtesting of the strategy. But you should be familiar enough with named tuples and how they work. It's just a tuple with a name. Okay, and so here, the next thing that we need to do is we're going to do if long short equals long. Then we need to do this, and we're going to start to add our information here. So self.set entry exits arrays is going to equal self.long set entry exit arrays. And then we'll do here self.log indicator settings is going to be self.long log indicator settings. Then self.entry message is going to be equal to self.long entry message. And here we'll do self.live evaluate equals self.long live evaluate. And self.chart title equals long signal. Then we'll do an else, because if we're not long, then we're short. And here we will just copy all of this. Or we're gonna find inside of here. I'm gonna go ahead and find in selection long, and I'm just gonna change it to short. There we go. And so if we're gonna do the long, we'll get the long, and if we're gonna do if it's not that, then it's gonna be short. Again, you have to make sure that you type it correctly, you know, or else it's just gonna go to the else. If you want to protect yourself and put elif equals short or whatever it is, you can do that yourself. But I'm just gonna leave here as else. It's gonna just go to the shorts, okay? And so that's all that we need to do for the init. And then the next thing that we'll do is we'll start to build the long, the long functions that we need. In this section, we will be building the long set entries and exits array function. And so let's just go ahead and do it. So first we'll just do def long set entries exit arrays. And what in the hell is this? All right. Oh, this is from the, okay, well, that's cool. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. Put our comment here. I mean our comma. And so let's do try. We'll do accept. Pass this, and we'll pass this. All right. So the first thing that we need to do in our try is we're going to do self.rsi is below equals self.indicator settings arrays. We're going to do RSI is below, and we're going to do indicator setting index. So this indicator setting index is a part of basically choosing which one of the RSI is belows that we want to pick from, because we're going to create the Cartesian product of all the possible combinations, and we're going to say give me 1 or 0 or 2 or whatever. Okay, and so again, as time goes on, this is going to just be a million times easier to explain once we're actually able to see everything. So length right here, and run it through the actual backtest. So we have our length, and then next we'll need our self.current indicator settings. That's going to be equal to indicator settings array. RSI is above, it's going to be np.nan because we're not going to be using it. RSI is below is going to be self.RSI is below, and RSI length is going to be self.RSI length. So this is going to be for printing out what our current indicator settings are. Okay, so that's why we have that. So the next thing that we'll need to do is create the RSI. So we can basically just borrow that from our working file that we created. So we can just come over here, and I think we should just be able to do this. We'll put it over, and so that it's inside of this thing. And so we are not going to have the closing prices, so we're going to have the candles. So what we'll need to do is just do candles, then candle body type dot close, and RSI length is going to be self.RSI length here. So that's going to be our RSI. Then our self.RSI is going to be np.around, and then we'll create a log here, logger.info. Here we'll just say created RSI length self.RSI. We have to put an F in front of the, so created RSI length right here. And then the next thing that we have to do is we have to create our previous, like we did. So we can just go back to that working file and grab these two things right here. Get rid of this, paste it. And I think everything should be good. So then the next thing that we'll do is we can grab this as well. Grab these. But the other thing that we have to do is we have to actually add the self to this, because that's going to be the np.around. Okay. And we have the previous, and then we have the previous, and then we have this previous, and this is going to be self dot. We're going to put a self right here. Put a self right here. So there we go. And the next thing is we'll have to grab the entries. This is going to be self.entries, and then we'll have to create our entry signals. This right here, self dot, and then we'll also do here self dot. So now we have everything like that, and then the last thing that we'll need to do is provide the exits. So we'll copy that over. Self dot, and then this is going to be self dot. So let's just have a look at everything here. Okay, so yeah, you can see here self dot. So it's below RSI. We just need to make sure that we have our selves. So that way we can have the RSI pointing to the correct RSI. So everything is looking like it should with our falling, rising. Okay. Everything is looking good. So is below and falling, rising, true and false, blah, 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 blah. All right. So for our accept, I normally like to do this just in case anything for whatever reason happens within this try. We want to catch it. And so here we're going to say accept at exception as E. So accept exception as E. Logger.info. This should actually probably be a error, because there's an error. So this will just catch if something happens, and so I like to just put exception long array. That'll put it in the log, And then here we're just going to raise exception because we don't want to continue if there's something that wrong within the creating of the RSI or anything like that. And then the next couple of things that we'll need to do here is I'm just going to copy and paste it over, and you guys can look at it. So let's do this, bring this over like that, bring this over like this. Okay, so this is actually spot. Let's do this. Okay. So what we're doing here is we're doing long_log indicator settings, self indicator settings, index. And we'll do this right here, we'll put that like that. Okay. And so what's happening here? So what's happening here is when we're doing our back test, we want, and maybe even during our live, we want to make sure that we are able to let ourselves know exactly what it is that we are looking at. And so here, as we are changing the index of the indicator that we're working with, we're possibly going to be changing the length or the below or whatever it is. And so we need to log that information, and that's what will happen in the backtester. We'll change over to the next column, and so it'll tell us exactly what it is that we're looking at here. And then here for the long entry message, you guys can put whatever you would like. It's just that you need the bar index, and these function names need to be exactly like this, or else it's not going to work. And so here we need to have the self bar index int, and then logger.info. I just put it so that way it stands out in the log file. And then what you'll need next after that is logger.info. Entry time, I just put that. And then I just put what is required in order for there to be an entry. So it says self.rsi bar index is -2, greater than RSI bar index -1, less than RSI bar index. So that's the current bar that we're at. Again, this is for the backtest. And RSI, the current RSI is less than wherever we're at for the RSI is below. Okay? And so this is going to show that we are falling. This is going to show that we are rising. And yeah, so we'll work it like that. And so these are all of the long functions. And so the next thing that we will do is we will basically just end up copying over everything to create the short functions next. All right, for this video, we are going to be looking at the creating the short functions. And so here, all we're going to really need to do is just grab all this, copy it, come down here, paste it, and then we will change wherever it says long. Let's see here, we'll grab this, we'll look for the word long, we'll change it to short. Let's just actually make sure that, okay, this makes sense. All right, so now we have our short, and now we need to change this above. And then we'll change this to above. Oh boy. I just realized that we need to change this to length. And we need to go back up here and change this to length. Okay. RSI length. There we go. So that's going to be all right. Yeah, that would have been fun looking at that, right? Okay. So we have the is above, and now we have to have this is above, is below. So we'll put a comma there. So everything, now here we have to have the self.rsi is above right here. And we need to change this to np.nan. And then we'll come over here, self dot. So here we have the is above, RSI length, current indicator is above is this. We have this length right here. Everything is still the same with this. Now here we have to do our falling is going to be this. So our previous RSI has to be down here, and then our previous RSI has to be up here. So therefore the previous RSI has to be greater, right? Because we're going to go up and then come down. So, well, actually our falling is going to be actually completely different. So we actually need to change this to self.rsi. It should be less than previous RSI. And then this rising will be the previous. So the previous RSI has to be going up. So that means that this has to be less than, right? So the previous RSI is here, then the previous RSI is here. So we're rising, then the current RSI is here, and then the previous RSI is here. So we're falling, all right? And then we're gonna have this is above, and we'll change this to is above. And then that means that we have to have the current RSI is less than. So the current RSI is less than the is above. No, the current RSI is greater than the is above. So is above 50. So the current RSI is here, and the is above line is going to be here. So the current RSI is here. So yes, current RSI has to be greater than the is above. So now we'll change this to is above, and we'll go ahead and have falling, rising, and everything else should still stay the same. And here we'll have this. And don't worry, we're going to be able to check all this information later on. So here we'll do above. This is going to be above. And then here our entry, our short entry message is going to be, so this is our previous has to be less than the previous RSI, and the previous RSI has to be greater than the current RSI, and the current RSI has to be greater than the is above. And that should be everything that we need. But again, we are going to definitely we'll be testing this out and showing the testing the plotting functions and stuff like that on this before we move forward, because there could be something wrong in here. So I might have missed something. So we'll check that out. Okay, for this, we are going to be working on the plot function. And so we'll go ahead and grab that information. And so the first thing that we need to do is just do def plot signals. And we'll have that. We'll grab this. And so here we need to, I think we can just do this. And so I think we can just basically go back over to our working file and start copying over a lot of the stuff that we've basically already done. And so for our candles, we just have this. For our date times is going to be this. Closing price is going to be this. I'm just copying things over from the work file. So here we'll have this. Grab our figure. Then the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do our RSI, right? Because again, we've already done all of this stuff before. So we'll do self.rsi. And this is going to be, the name is going to be RSI right here. So we have that. Now the next thing, add this scatter. That's going to be our entry signals. And so we need to go ahead and put a self on that as well. So we'll do self dot entry signals, and we're going to grab our H line right here. RSI is below. Well, again, let me think about that. So what we'll need to do is inside of this long set entries exits array, we'll have to do a self dot H line equals, and then we'll have to just do this like that, and we'll grab this, and we'll come down here to the whatever this is short. We'll add it here, and we'll say is above. All right, and then we'll be able to come down here to this, and we'll be able to say right here self dot H line. So that way it doesn't really matter if it's short or long or whatever it is. Everything will work out here. Okay, so now we'll grab the update layout right here. So we have to push this over one, and everything is looking pretty good here. Oh yeah, so now we have to come up here, and let's do this right here. Now we have to do self dot chart title equals, oh, wait a minute. We already did that. We've already done the chart title up here. So we'll grab this self.chart title and we'll put it right here. Self.chart title. And then we will have this fig.show. And so everything should be looking good. We actually don't need these closing prices. We just need the date times. And so everything should be looking pretty good. And so I think the next thing that we'll do is we're just gonna, I guess, test what the long functions look like and what the short functions look like. Okay, for this section, we're just gonna be testing the functions that we made. And so for some reason, Jupyter Notebook or Python doesn't like it when you do like 04 plotting underscore func.py. And so I just had to copy this and paste in strat. And so here we do from strat import RSI rise falling here. And then you also want to do import numpy as np and then this information here. Same exact thing as we've done before. Except we just don't need this run df backtest or anything like that. And so here we have everything that we need in order to actually test this out. And so here we're gonna hit go for me. And then here I'm just gonna download 3,000 candles. Okay, let's just download 300. And let's hit this. And so you can see I'm just downloading the candles right here. And so what we're doing here is we are having the rising falling. So short strat equals rising falling. I'm putting the long equals short. I mean long short equals short. RSI length is np.array 14. And here I just have some range. So I have RSI is above np.a range 50, 76, 5. And I just put a comma after that. Then I did short strat dot set entry exit arrays. And so I sent it the candles and then I said, give me index 0, right? And then I said short strat dot plot signals candles. And so once you guys do that, you guys might run into an issue like I did where I forgot to put a comma right here. And so I was running into issues where it was saying, oh, this is out of bounds or whatever. This is out of bounds. That's out of bounds. And so I remember that I forgot to put a comma right here. So you have to have colon, comma. So this is saying, give me all the rows of this column. And it was also the same problem that I had when I had the short. I had to put the comma there. Okay, you can see I had a little breakpoint trying to figure that out. And so if I run this, you'll be able to see that we have our line right here showing up, and then we have our entry and exit points right here. You can see, let's make sure that we zoom in and see that they're working. So yes, this is falling, and so let's go back on that. And so what you'll basically do is I just copied the same thing over here for the rising falling. So I did long strat, then long short equals long. Length is going to be 14. This time I did is below. The other one I did is above. This one I'm doing is below. np.arrange 35, 61, 5, and then long strat set entry exit arrays candles. I just said index 2, and if we run this, the plot signals, boom, you'll be able to see that we have everything. Let's zoom in again just to make sure that everything is looking good. So we were falling here, now we're rising. We were falling here, now we're rising. We were falling here, now we're rising, falling, rising, falling here, rising. So everything is looking like it should work properly. We have this line where we're not getting any other signals above the line. We're not getting any other signals below the line. So everything is looking like it should be fine. If you want as well, you can try to test out and see if make sure that these long indicator settings and long indicator our entry messages work as well if you'd like, but that's up to you for the short and long messages. But yeah, everything seems to be working out just fine. In this section, we're going to be going over running the actual backtest and also running the order results backtest. We'll download the candles, set up our short, set up our long functions. We'll set up all of the things that we need in order to actually make the backtest run here, setting, you know, the dynamic order settings and different things like that. We'll run the backtest. We'll figure out what the top QF score ones are. Then we'll actually run the order records backtest. So we'll get every single trade, everything that happened for like a particular backtest that we've done. We'll be able to print out everything here showing you all the entries. Then we'll also get every single entry exit, stop loss, the move stop loss, everything. We'll see what a cumulative P&L is. And then also we'll be able to see in data frame form every single function, every single trade that happened where the position asset changed and take profit price and all sorts of different things that have happened. And so we'll be able to do all of that in this section here. In this section, we're going to be running the DF backtest. And so what I've done is I've just copied the testing over to here. And so the main thing that I guess that you guys would need to add would be this quantfreedom.simulate import run df backtest. And so once you have it looking like this, we'll go ahead and run this right here. Everything's looking good. We'll get the candles. I just have 300 on the 1 hour. And here, again, I just copied over the short strategy, copied over the long strategy. These two things work. So now we get into the backtesting information here. So as a quick reminder, I'm constantly updating this thing, constantly making improvements, constantly making changes. And so if these settings do not work for you, come to the Discord and ask questions there, or you can go to the website and look up this specific thing and see what the latest video is on how to actually use it, if anything has changed from this video. Okay, and that goes for anything in this video. Anytime there's anything, just mainly come to the Discord or check the website for this particular thing and see if there's a new update on it. Okay, so for the backtesting settings, we're just going to do backtest settings is this. Also too, if you check the timestamps, if you want more of an explanation, because I'm not going to explain what each one of these do, that's later in the video explaining what's going on. Or again, you can check the website for an explanation of these particular things right here that we're using. Okay, so for the exchange settings, we just have the asset tick step is going to be 3. Leverage mode, I'm putting 1. Leverage tick step is going to be 2. You guys can see here, limit fee percent, market fee percent, max asset size 100, max leverage 150. That's because on Mufex you can do up to 150x leverage. And the rest of these things here. So you have to fill in minimum asset, minimum leverage. Again, like I said, just copy everything that I'm doing. And that way you'll get basically, well, you're not going to get the same results as me depending on when you're running this, because the past 300 candles is going to be completely different. But these are the settings that I'm using for the exchange settings. Then we go into the dynamic order settings arrays, and we have the max equity at 12. Here we can just put this at 0, and our risk account percent size is going to be 3. All of these have to be np.arrays. Risk reward, I'm testing out 2 and 5. Stop loss based on add percent, so we're going to be adding, so we're going to put our stop loss at the, well, actually I probably should move this up. It'll make a little bit more sense if I do it like that. Let's do this first. Static order settings. So we're going to increase the position size. Position type is going to be risk percent of account. So we're going to be risking a certain percent of our account every single trade. The leverage type is going to be dynamic. We're going to let the leverage automatically adjust based on where our stop loss is. We're going to need to grab the min because we're going to run the long strategy. So we're going to need to grab the minimum for the stop loss. So it's going to look back like, 20 candles and grab the lowest low. Then here we're going to have the stop loss based on the candle body. We're not going to move our stop loss to break even. Starting bar is going to be $50,000. There's no static leverage. The fee for the limit of the take profit is going to be limit, and we're going to do risk to reward, and we are not going to trail our stop loss, and we don't have for our break even, we have none for this. And then like I said, we're going to be risking the percent account size. And so here I've just chosen 3 for the risk percent. So every single time we trade, we're going to be risking 3% of our account. and the maximum is going to be 12% at risk, and a risk to reward I'm going to test 2 and 5. Again, this is just testing it out, right? And then stop loss based on add percent. We're going to add like 0.1%, 0.25%, 0.5% to the stop loss. And here we're going to look back 20 candles, and then we're also going to test looking back 50 candles. It's going to be based off of the low. Trailing stop loss. Oh, we have this at the false. Let's actually set this to true. Why not? Let's trail the stop loss. Okay, so we'll trail the stop loss. And so here the stop loss at based on the candle body is going to be the low. We're not going to move our stop loss to break even, so we don't need to put anything there. The trailing stop loss, we're going to base it on the low, and we are going to start trailing when we are 1% away from the candle body low, and we're going to trail by 0.5% and 1%. Okay, and so again, I went through this pretty fast. If you guys want a more detailed, slowed down version of and an updated version, you can go to the website, look for this, and watch the latest video. If there is none, you can come to the Discord and ask me questions there about questions that you have about this or this or this or this. Okay, and so now we have come to the actual backtesting part. Okay, and so we're gonna do run df backtest, and we have to send it the backtest settings, we have to send it the candles, we have to send it the DOS arrays, which is this, which is DOS is dynamic order settings. Then we have to send the exchange settings, and we have to send the static order settings, and we have to send the strategy, which is gonna be the long strat. Okay, and so here I just ran it. I don't think it should take that long. Well, I probably actually shouldn't have done that, but let's see. Let's just run it. And boom, took 8 seconds. We tested 86,000 candles. We had possibility of 288 combinations here. And so that's this combination mixed in with the fact that we had other combinations with, you know, we're testing this below right here. And so you can see we have 6 for our indicator, we have 48 for our order settings, possible combinations, and we have 300 candles that we're testing, so therefore we tested 86,000. And so then the results come up here. I'm just putting it in the order of the QF score. Again, if you guys want more information about any of this stuff, you can again go to the website and you can look up the backtesting settings, because that's where I explain this type of information here. But we want to have the highest QF score possible. That's usually the best. But again, we only had 5 trades here, 6 trades here, 5 trades here. We're not really trading that much because it's only 300 candles. And the reason why I'm only doing 300 here is because I don't want this to take, you know, 3-4 minutes in order to actually just finish doing a simple back test. But actually, yeah, I'm actually going to do that now. Actually, screw that. I'm going to change this to, let's say, 3,000. And then I'm going to run the back tester, and I'm going to pause it, and we'll come back whenever it's done. All right, so you can see here we've done more testing on the candles, and so it took 1 minute and 30 seconds to do 800,000 candles. And so you can see here the top 10 are showing here 4,000, 4,000. This one says 12,000. And so we have the amount of trades that we have. We have these QF scores, which are pretty insane. This is actually pretty crazy. So it'll be interesting to see what in the next part. But so the other thing that I want to say is that I do actually have another part of this backtester that, you know, is literally 100 times faster than running this normal Python code. Okay, so it's a nitro booster, and so that is going to be available for the people who qualify to be able to use that, or you can try to figure out how to use it yourself. But the reason why I do that is because that you cannot debug it. You can't. It's a lot harder to code than just regular Python code. Okay, and so if you qualify, if you want to see if you qualify, you go to the Discord. Follow me on Twitch. Follow me on Twitter. And message me on Discord and say, hey, let me know that you have some experience with Python. Show me that you've actually followed this course and everything, show me that you actually know how to do this stuff, and then I can introduce you to the nitro booster. Because again, if you don't know what you're doing with this, there's no way you're going to be able to figure out how to do the nitro booster. Okay, but that's going to allow you to test up to. I remember I did like 30 million candles to test. I did like 30 million with 12,000 total combinations, and it only took like 2 minutes. So yeah, it's pretty insanely fast. But anyways, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do the order record, so that way we can print out exactly what each trade looks like and our cumulative P&L and all of that other fun stuff. Okay, in this section, we'll continue forward with doing the order records backtest. And so what that includes is basically you have this order records backtest. So you'll need to have inside of here, Quant freedom.simulate import, and then you just put order or underscore backtest, and so you run that cell and you'll have it here. And so you can just basically literally just copy this and paste it over here, and then the things that you have to add are these next things right here. So let's say that we have, let's see, this one looks juicy, I guess. 48,000. We'll check out 48,000 one, and then we'll check out this one right here. So this gives you a chance to see what's actually happened. So we have this DOS index of 23. So we'll put that here. And then we have the indicator setting index of 5. And so we'll go ahead and put that here like this. And then we'll have plot results, and then we'll set the logger to be true. And so that's going to give us some logs, or it should. It better work. Let's hope to gods. Let's hope to the gods that it actually works. So you can see here, it tells you exactly what the dynamic order settings are, and it tells you exactly what you have. It tells you what the indicator settings are. So we have the is below 60. Is below 60. Oh my god. And what is below 60? What do we even do here? Oh wow. Okay, that's crazy. So, and then we have the RSI length as 14. And so here you can see there are a lot of signals going on here, but obviously we're not taking every single one of them. It may look like it, but anyways, if we were to trade, we'd be able to zoom in here and see everything that's happened here. So you can see here, we entered R4. We had our stop loss, we got stopped out. We entered here, we moved forward, our stop loss moved, and then we got stopped out in profit. So we entered. Our stop loss is way down here. Okay. Moved our stop loss up, got stopped out here. That's good. So let's go ahead and move over. And so you can see here how you can just go through each and every single one and see exactly what happened as time goes on. You can see what your cumulative P&L is here. So let's just check it out. So this is why I like to have the high QF scores, because the QF score, basically the higher it is, the less drawdown that you have. And so you can see here, this thing's basically starting to just go straight to the upside. But, you know, let's just be honest here. We're kind of cheating because the price just goes up, right? So the price goes up. It's a lot, you know, if you long on a uptrend, then whoop-de-doo, right? Congratulations. But anyways, you can see here that we did have some pretty nice winners and stuff like that. And you guys can check through whatever yours looks like in the current time. And so here, if we do the order records, let's see here, we have this set up. All right. Actually, oh, okay, yeah, so this is here. So let's check out this one right here. So let's see, we had 19 and 4. So this is 19. We'll put 4 right here. And oh yeah, let's check to see if we got some logs. We do have some logs. So we can go through now and see at every single candle exactly what happened. This is, you know, we can see here there was no entry. We do have an entry right here. It says entry time, this, and we're below 60. And it tells you exactly stop loss price right here. It tells you your average entries, everything that you need to know to make sure that everything is looking good for you. And you can just keep going and going and going. And let's see, it tells you this one. And yeah, you can just check it out here. You can see the stop loss was filled. We lost $120 on this one. But hey, you know, sometimes that happens. we get stopped out, and we also make profit, you can see. So that's where your logs come into play. And so let's go ahead and take a look at this again right here. So we changed it up. Now we're going to look at this one that got $12,000, 419. We had 55 trades. How is this? What happened? We must have had some like super bangers. So let's just go ahead and run this, see what's going on here. Again, we see everything below 55. What is the difference here? We must have risk reward 2-to-1. Whoa, what happened here? Oh, it's probably because we started to make more money, so that 3% started to probably get bigger. Well, it didn't probably. It made our equity bigger, so we were able to risk more. And so as we risk more, we're making more. And then as we make more, we're able to risk more. And so that's probably what happened. But yeah, everything is looking pretty solid. So you can go through and look at everything if you guys would like. But yeah, it looks like this one is pretty damn sexy. Okay, well, whatever happened here, this whole section right here, we made some serious money. But anyways, and then yeah, you can come down here and take a look at the entries filled and different things like that. If you wanted to check exactly what happened, entry by entry, move by move. And I'm just actually kind of curious to see what had happened here. I think it's probably the trailing stop loss that really got us. But anyways, yeah, so you guys can play around with that as much as you would like. And then the next step is that we have to add in the live functions, so that way we can go live, and then we'll go ahead and set up the live, and then we'll actually run it live, and I'll show you guys it actually running live. So and we'll be able to choose from one of these. I'm not sure which one I want to choose. Maybe we'll actually just choose this one to go live. Yeah, maybe we'll choose. So that's what you do, is you'll choose one of these. But anyways, we'll get into that. I'm getting kind of caught up in like wanting to actually do more tests and stuff. But anyways, in this section, we're going to be creating all of the functions that you need to in order to go live. And so here we'll create this function right here. Then we'll create the long live evaluate. We'll create the short live evaluate. Then we'll also create the plotting function that you need to go live. Then after that, we'll go over the actual Python file that you will need to create in order to actually go live. We'll go through all of that. And then at the very end, you'll be able to see that we are actually able to test it out and actually go live, where we enter, put our stop loss, put our take profit, and then it shows us exactly where our long signal was for our RSI, and then it shows you exactly where your stop loss, your liquidation, your take profit, and all of that other stuff as far as where you entered goes. For this section, we are going to be working on creating the functions to let us go live. And so the first one we'll do is we're going to do def live set indicator. And for this function, all we're really going to do is grab, let's see here, we can just copy this right here. Well, we'll copy this. Well, no, we'll copy this whole thing, bring it down here, put it like so, bring this back, and we will also add in the is above. This will be is above. And, well, now we have a problem. The problem is that this H-line thing. So I don't feel like dealing with the H-line thing where you do like a long live set indicator and a short live set indicator, which you could do. I mean, you could do if you really wanted to, and then you come up here and you do exactly what we have here, where you just do live set indicator and then it's self.long live set indicator and stuff like that. And then you can come in here and separate them and have, you know, for your long, you have below, then your length, then your H line, then you have your current indicator settings and all this other stuff. But for me, I've already established that the H line works and everything works. And so I don't need the H line. But again, you guys can do that if you would like. And so here I'm just gonna go ahead and go with the way I have it set up right here. So self.rsi is above. And so that's really all we need. And then what we will also do is we're going to add some logger information here and say live set indicator settings finished. So logger.info. We don't need this F because there's nothing there. So once we get done with that, so that'll help us out with our logs. And then the next thing that we need to do is we need to create a def long live evaluate. So we'll put a comma here. And so for the most part, we're basically just going to be doing this here. So let's go ahead and basically grab this whole thing, bring it down here, go ahead and paste it. And from here, we can get rid of all this because we'll just do that one time. And again, I will show you all of the reasons why, all of this stuff. But we need the RSI. We've got the candles. We create the RSI here. Then we do the self.rsi. All of this stuff stays the same. And now for this previous and stuff like that, we don't really need all of this. Because when we're live, all we're going to do is just grab the newest candles that come in, at least the way I'm running it. We grab a new set of candles, we create the RSI, and then here we do the evaluation. And so we don't need the rest of this stuff here. So what we'll do is, well, we're going to come over here. We're going to do this if, well, actually, let me see here. Let me undelete all of this. So our previous RSI, previous. So we'll do this, and we need a current RSI. So this is going to be self.rsi. We're going to say, give me the last RSI. And then here we'll grab this. And then the previous RSI is going to be the second to last. And then this one is going to be the third to last. So we have that. And then now what we do is we come over here and we can delete this and we say if previous RSI is greater than previous RSI and less than current RSI, and current RSI is less than self.rsi is below, then we create our entry message where we could basically come over here and do this. We'll copy this. We'll bring it down here like so. And we'll move this forward like that. And so here, what we'll do is we'll just put previous RSI like this. We'll put this right here. We'll put this right here. And we'll switch this to current. And this is going to be as below. So there's an entry time. This is greater than this. And then this is less than this. Okay, so you can think of it as we're coming down and then we're coming up. Okay, and that's for the long. So we get the RSI. Let's just make sure everything is cool here. We get the RSI. Then we create the RSI. We log that we've created it. We create the current, the previous, and the previous. And then we say if this situation happens right here and this situation, then we log that it's entry time. And then what we have to do is return true. Okay. Else return false. Right? You could also come over here and create this log that basically says no entry for your logs. Okay, and then here, what we'll do is we'll just delete this. And so here we have our long live indicator right here. Everything is looking good. And so what you can do is change this to the correct function. Let's see. Okay, so everything is good there. And so what we need to do now is we could just duplicate this whole thing and create short. And so everything is still going to be the same. We have the RSI, everything is still good. And so here what we would need is we would need this to be greater. We'd have to get this to be less than, and then this is going to be greater than. Because think about it like this, we are coming up to this RSI, and then we are coming down to this current RSI. So up, down, right? This is less than, so we start here. Then this, so we go up. Then this is greater than this, so this comes down into here. Okay, and then we have to have this is going to be, oh shit, what did I do? This is going to be greater than the above. So if our RSI is above like 50, then our current RSI has to be 60. So current RSI has to be greater than the is above. And then so here what we can do is just switch the signs, and we'll switch this sign right here as well, and then we'll say above. And so we have, this is incorrect. This, what did I just do? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, so, and current RSI is greater than is above. This is above, this is above. So everything is looking good. The main things that we just had to change was this is above, and changing these right here. So less than, greater than. This is greater than, less than. All right, so and this is short. And so we have to change the name of this right here to short. And then the next thing that we have to do is we have to create the plotting for this right here. So we'll do that next. In this video, we'll go ahead and create the plotting function that we need for actually going live. And so the function name is going to be this right here, def get strategy plot file name. We'll go ahead and put a comma here, delete all of this stuff. And I think we can basically kind of copy this. I think we'll be able to do this. And we'll paste it here. And so now what do we need to change? So we have our go.figure. We are going to have our RSI. What I like to do is just only include the last 50 candles, because I don't need 2,000 candles. I don't need 300 candles. I just want to see like the last 50 candles. And so you guys can put whatever you want, but I suggest 50 because the way I have the other thing set up, the live feature, it uses 50 candles to send the candles actually back to you. And so here, what we need to do is for our date times, what we need to do is do -1. This is going to be for our entries, right? So this is going to be -1, and we need to put that in a bracket or a list, because the plotly functions for X and Y, or the plotly variables X and Y, need to be of list format. And so here, what we can do is just do this and do self.rsi and then -1. And so this is just basically going to put a marker at the latest RSI. Okay, and then everything else is good here. For the H line, like I said, I'm not going to put that there. It's not necessary. But again, this is one of those things where it's like, if you wanted to get access to the Nitro Booster features, you can show me that you were able to figure out how to add the H line properly. But for now, it's not necessary. And so with that, we have this. The chart title still works. And then here, what we have to do is we have to create a entry file name equals os.path.join. Here, we're going to do self.log folder. And we have this. Then we're going to say logs. Then we're going to say images. And then here, we're going to do f indicator. Then we'll do this date time dot utc now dot str f time. Then I'm going to do what is this thing called? Percent dash percent d dash percent capital Y underscore percent capital H percent capital M dash percent capital S. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll do dot png, put a comma here, and everything is looking like it should. So we're gonna grab the log folder, a path, then inside of that log folder there's gonna be we're gonna grab the path, then we're gonna go into the logs, we're gonna go to images, and then we're going to create this image file name. Then we're gonna do fig.write file name, and then we're gonna have entry file name like that, and then we'll do return entry file name. So this should write image is what I was actually meaning to say. So fig.write image entry file name. And so everything is looking like it should right here. Everything is looking all right. And so this should end up working for you. And so in the next section, we'll go ahead and talk about actually getting this thing to run live. In this section, we're going to go over everything that you need to go live with the strategy. And so here you can pause and look at all of the imports that you need. With this enums, you could just do this star if you'd like, but I don't suggest you do that. But obviously the link to all of this is going to be in the description box, so you guys can just copy and paste all of these imports that you need. But my stuff right here, this is from me, and then this live strat right here, this is also from me. So you're not going to be able to import these two things. And so you'll need to figure out where, because like for me, I have the live strat right here. We dealt with that whole like 0-2 thing earlier. So I just created this live strat. And so from live strat, import this. And then from my stuff, this is where I'm getting all of my email information. And also the Mufex test keys. This is where I'm getting my exchange secret keys and all of that other stuff. So again, repeat this. You will need to be able to provide your own email information, and you will need your own keys to be able to connect to the server. The exchange. And so for the email, well, anyways, so I'll go ahead and explain exactly everything here because I just went through and tested it out. Oh yeah, and speaking of that, I messed up, or I forgot, I should say, that when you are creating this get strategy plot file name, you need the date times to also be -50 right here. Okay, so this is going to be -50, and this is going to be -50, and then you put the colon. So you're basically saying go back 50 candles, because when I ran it, I accidentally got all the candles, and just like, but anyways. So there's that. Everything ended up working out besides that right there. And so here for the go live, we just have the RSI is rising. I'm just doing the long. Here I'm just putting the length at 14 and 100, because again, I'm doing it on the test. All right, I don't want to actually do it, and I'm doing it at 100 just to make sure that everything is actually going to work. Okay, when you're doing this, you want to go ahead and put, let's go back over to here. We said that what you'd basically want to do is just copy your dynamic order settings like this, copy this over, and well, no, whoops, I lied. Here, you'd want to just copy this right here and paste it over into here, and then make it strategies like this. So here, let's go ahead and do that. So in the real world, I would do this and come over here, paste it in, and now I'd have that, right? Then we'd come down here, logger.disabled equals false, and then we're going to do set loggers. And so this is your strategy.log folder. And For here, when we were creating this, we've already gone over this part right here. And so we are going to send that over to our loggers, and that's what's going to create all of this stuff. Then we'll have a debug says, hey, we set the strategy in logger. Then for the strategy, we want to do live set indicators, and we want to give it the indicator setting index. And so what is that? Well, that is the indicator index that we chose here was 4. So in your go live, you would choose this as 4, and then you would do this log indicator settings as 4 right here. And then for the exchange, again, I'm using Mufex. I prefer Mufex, but you guys can use whatever exchanges that we have available. I'm updating and adding, and so if you don't see your exchange, then make sure that you message me on Discord if you guys need to know which exchanges are available. There's Binance, there's Bybit, there's Apex, there's Mufex, there's DYDX, and I have all the different exchanges. I have Binance USDM, and then I also have like Binance Spot, I think, or Binance US so far. And so again, choose whatever exchange that you want. And again, make sure, because I don't use all the exchanges, right? Make sure that you message me. You don't just go, oh, damn, it doesn't work or whatever it is. Message me and let me know, hey, this doesn't work. Hey, this isn't working. Hey, I want to run it on Binance. Hey, I want to run it on this exchange or whatever it is. And we'll see if we can get it working for you. And, we'll work on it together and make sure that it can work exactly for your exchange. Okay, but whatever exchange you choose, this would all be the same. You want to have your API key, your secret key, and then use testnet. I would suggest doing it true. I would suggest doing all of the same things that I'm doing here and using the testnet just to make sure that everything's going to work before you go live, okay? Then when you go live, that's when you want to grab all of the information from over here, which is going to be, well, anyways, we'll go through it. So now that we're down here, we just want to put set exchange. Then for here, we want to do set exchange settings. And that's going to, this is basically going to come over here and set the leverage mode, set the position mode, get everything that it needs. And then that's basically going to be the thing over here that we had, which was the exchange settings, right? It's going to create one of these things and let us know all of this, and also set the exchange hedge mode, leverage mode, all of that other fun stuff. Okay. And so here, that's where you'd use position mode type, hedge mode, leverage mode type dot isolated. And I'm doing the symbol BTC USDT. And then here, what you want to do is set your equity is equal to, and then you're going to grab the equity of your wallet, whatever your equity is here. So that's what we're doing here. Mufex test dot get equity of asset trading with. So here I'm just saying, I'm trading in USDT, so like BTC USDT, ETH USDT, XRP USDT, whatever it is. So I want to see how much USDT I have in my wallet. And so here we're doing that. Here we have this exception of couldn't get the equity. And then here, again, static order settings. You can basically come over here, copy your static order settings from here, paste it into here. And then same thing with the dynamic order settings arrays. We've already done that over here. You copy this, paste it over into here. Then you want to do this, create a Cartesian product. So that's what this is. So DOS cart products is the function. Then we say DOS arrays equals DOS arrays. So we're creating a Cartesian product, which is basically all of the possible combinations of this right here. And then the dynamic order settings is... So what we're going to do is after we've created that, then we're going to get the, where is it at here? Okay. So then we're going to feed it in 19, we said, right? So let's just say we are going to choose 19. So that's what we're going to do. So we would feed this 19, okay, if we were going to be running this live or whatever it is that we're doing. So here I'm just running a test. So I don't really care with, the RSI being below 100. It doesn't even matter what any of the settings are. So, but this is where you would just want to copy your dynamic order settings here, paste it here, create the cart product. Then you want to just only get the dynamic order settings with the index of 19 or whatever it is that you guys choose. Okay. So that's what you would put here. And then we're just going to log it. And so here we're just going to send the DOS index, and then we're going to send the dynamic order settings. Boom. And then we're going to create an order handler. And so that's going to be the thing that handles all the orders and different things like that. And so here, order handler exchange setting equals mufex test dot exchange settings. Again, we've done that before. Long short is going to be strategy dot long short, because we've already told the strategy exactly what we are going to do long, or we're going to do short. So we just do that here, and then we need to send it to static order settings. And so here we've created the order handler, and then here we need to update the classes. So here we're going to do order dot update class DOS, and we're going to do dynamic order settings, and we're going to send that there. And so what that's doing is there's a whole bunch of different classes and different things that are associated with the order handler, and so that needs our dynamic order settings. And so that's what this is doing here. And here we're doing set or order variables, and so this we need to send it our equity. And so you can see here all of these different things right here, like your stop loss percent, your equity, your entry size, and all sorts of other things. So we need to send out our equity, and then our email sender. So we do email sender equals email sender. Then your SMPT server. So this, you're going to need that. For Gmail, you guys can look that up if you need to, but we'll have that. Then our sender email is going to be this right here. Password is going to be a password. Receiver is going to be receiver. And so let me check that out. So for here, what you would need to make sure that you do is you have an email address that you can send the messages from. Okay, and so you need to set that up, and then you need to also set it up so that way you can receive. So for me, I have like one email address that I can send from a Gmail, and then I'm gonna obviously have a receiver. And so you'll need the password of the sender, you'll need the SMTP server for the sender, and you'll also need the email from the sender. And then the receiver is just going to be an email address that I'm going to receive the emails. And so what the email is going to do is it's going to send you images of your entries. It's going to show you where you entered, where you exited, different things like that. So if I go over to the logs here, you'll be able to see, it'll send you this information right here. It'll tell you exactly where you entered, what your average entry was, all of these different things. Again, this is constantly changing, so it could be different by the time you're watching this. And it'll also send you these images here, your entries. And then this is where I messed up, where I didn't say date times minus 50. So it sent me the whole entire thing instead of that. So it'll send you these two images as well. So it'll tell you everything that's going on with it. All right, and so we are going to do logger.debug, set email sender, and then here we're going to run live. So we're going to do live trading, and then we're going to need to send it an email sender. The entry order type is going to be market. The exchange is going to be mufex test. The order is going to be order, so that's our order handler. Our strategy is going to be strategy. Our symbol is going to be BTC USDT. Trading with is going to be USDT. And then our TP order type. So this is going to be how we're actually going to be exiting, is going to be limit, because we're doing risk to reward. And then here we're going to do .run. And then inside of that, we're going to send how many candles we want to download and our time frame. So that basically means every minute we're going to download the last 200 candles. That's basically what this means. Okay? Again, this is for testing purposes. You can adjust this as needed. And again, if you have any questions about any of this stuff, you can go down below in the video and click on the files, and I'll have all these files that we're working with here in this video uploaded to that repository. And then again, if you guys run into any problems with anything, you let me know in the Discord. We'll see if we can get you helped out and squared away and with everything. All right, and so if you run this, let's go ahead and run this for a second here. So let's run it, and so you'll be able to see here that we should create another whatever this thing is called here. So give it a second. Boom, we just created this. So now we're gonna say have a little message that should pop up here saying starting live trading. And so now it's going to check to see what candles we need to download. So it's going to say, hey, we're waiting 29 seconds because we're waiting every minute for the next candles. And so here you'll be able to see, if we go into this, it tells us, hey, we're setting everything up. Our indicator settings are this right here. These are our dynamic order settings that we've created. And here it's set the order handler, set the email address, starting live trading. Last candle time is this. And so here we're going to sleep for 29 seconds until the next bar. So if we come back over to here, let's bring this up, this terminal here. And so you can see this. And so over here on my thing, you can see it's showing, boom, we entered a trade. We have our trade right here. And then here you can also see that we have set the entry, and then we have our stop loss, and we have our take profit set right here. So everything is looking like it is working properly. So let's go ahead and bring that over here. And so that brings us to the end of this section. In this video, we're going to be going over the Python arithmetic operators. So first is just going to be 1 plus 1. Obviously, that's addition, so that's just going to be 2. So we'll just run that. Then we have 1 minus 1, which obviously is going to be 0 as well. Then we have 2 times 3, so 2 times 3, which will be 6. Then we have this right here, which stands for the power. So we're just going to, or exponential. So we're going to be 2 to the power of 3, which is going to give us 8, which is basically the same thing as 2 times 2 times 2. And then here, what we will have is our division. So we have 13 divided by 5, which is going to give us 2.6, right? And after that, we have this thing called modulus, I think that's how you say it. And this is going to give you the remainder. So if we did 13 divided by 5, it's going to give us a remainder of 3, okay? And then we have our floor division, which is just going to remove this part right here, and we'll have a 2, so it'll just give us a 2. So like if I put 4, it'll still give us a 2. If I put 5, it'll give us a 3, or it should give us a, let's see here, put 5 here, it'll give us 3. And if we do this, it'll give us 3. And so here, if we did this as 5, it'll give us 0 because there is no remainder here. And so we'll do this. This gives us a remainder of 4. If you feel like you need to learn more, you can go to w3school.com/python/python-operators.asp. This website has a lot of information on a whole bunch of these different topics, so go ahead and check that out if you need more. In this video, we're going to be going over strings. And so again, if you guys need to learn more, w3school.com/python/strings_strings.asp. So here we just have your simple Python string hello. And then after that, we can store hello as a variable. And so we'll be able to print that out. You can see here, if we just do a equals hello, you just do a, and then you'll see hello here. And then here you can see that if you wanted to do more than just like one line, and you just wanted to basically type out a paragraph for whatever reason, you could do it that way. Now you have to use 3 quotes if you're going to like use extra lines and stuff like that. But as you'll notice, the extra lines won't actually show up here. You'll have this, but if we wrap it in a print, you'll see that the lines show up like this. Okay, so you'll have the new lines showing up exactly how you want them if you do the print. So basically, we have to understand these strings are basically just arrays. And so here, if we did a equals, hello world, we did a1, we're going to grab this. If we did a0, we're going to grab hello, the h. If we did a4, we'll grab the o, because it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so on. And so you can see here, we can basically break it down and do B, A, N, A, N, A for each one. So basically, this for loop is going to go through each and every single character, and you print it out. And you'll see here that it's just B, A, N, A, N, A, each one of those lines right here. And so we can also get the length of the string. And so here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13. The spaces count as characters. Anything between these strings is a character, and so that gets counted for its length. Okay. And so we can also search inside of this text and say text equals this, and we'll say is the word free inside of text, and we'll get back a true because free is right here. If we did it in another E here, you would see that it would say false. So if we said best is true, if we did best space, that's true. If we did best space space, that's false, because we have this best space right here, and so on and so on. So we can also set it up as an if statement, because again, this is just going to return true. So here we run this and we say is free in text, print yes if free is present, and it will. If we did this right here, it won't print anything because this is not a true statement here. So let's just bring this back and print that. And here, let's go ahead and print this. Same exact thing, except we're doing the not. So expensive not in text. So we're basically saying, is expensive in text? No, that's false. But this is, we're doing the not, which is like the reverse of whatever the statement is. And so that's going to return back true. Okay, so expensive is not in text, true. So here, again, we're going to just do this. No, expensive is not present if we're setting up as an if statement. So again, like we talked about a little bit earlier, the arrays, strings are basically just arrays. And so here we're going to have it set up as B, and we're going to say, give me from the start of the array all the way to 5, which is basically 4. So we're going to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so that's how you get this printed out, hello. If we did 6, let's see here, we did 6. And so this is about slicing arrays. So if we did -1, you'd see here that we basically get everything except this last character right here. Okay. Let's bring this back to 5. And so here you can also change the how these are presented. And so here, if we did A equals hello world and we did upper, you'll see here that you basically change all of these to uppercase. You have lower, all of these to lowercase. And again, there's a whole bunch of these different modifying strings. You got capital K's, you got strip, you have a whole bunch of different things. So again, this is why I was saying, if you guys want more information on this is why you go to that website, and you'll be able to see these tests, you'll see these string methods, you'll have all types of information here. So I'm just trying to give you a basic understanding. Okay, so again here, one of the things that we're using a lot is replace. So if we're going to replace the H with J, so if we run that, you'll see here that we say Jello world because we replace the H with the J. So you can also you can replace whatever you want that's actually matches inside of here with whatever you want here. And here, this split is going to take it and say, hey, split at this comma. And so here we're going to have hello, and then we're going to have, like I said, the space because it's a character, and then world. So I think if we did this, you'll see that we actually get rid of the space right there. So that's how you can split the array here. And now we're starting to get into F strings and formatting and different things like that. And so here we have age equals 36, and you say my name is John and I am with this right here. And so here you just do text, which is this dot format age. And so we have hi, my name is John and I am 36. And so here you can see here we can add multiple different parts here. We'll say the quantity, item number, price. And so we're saying here, I want this of quantity. Then we say pieces of item, this item number for this price. And so you see here, I want 3 pieces of item 567 for $49.95. And so if we come down here, you can see that you can actually change up the order of things. And so this 0 is going to start here, this 1 is going to be here, and this 2 is going to be here because that's just the order that it's going in for the formatting. And so I want to pay 2, which is price right here. I want to pay this 40, which is this, and 1, which is this. So I want to pay $49 for 3 pieces of item 5, 6, 7. And so here you can also just do this F string, and I want to pay $49 for, and so you, instead of doing it like this, doing all this format stuff, you can just throw in the variables inside of your string like that. And so here you can also format what's inside. So let's say that the price ends up being, you know, this gigantic number for whatever reason. You say, I want to pay this, and then you put this percentage dot 4f, and then you put this percentage sign, and then you put your variable here, and then it will go ahead and make it so that way it's going to be only 4 decimal places. So if I change this to 2, you'll see here, I did 2f, that's going to bring it down to 2. If I did 1, you'll see that it'll bring it down to 1. Okay, so that's how you can manipulate that as well. And then here we also have these, I guess, escape characters, you can call them. So here we're saying, we are so-called Vikings from the north. So if you wanted to put quotes, you can't put quotes inside of quotes, or else that's going to give you an error. Because if we did this, that's just going to give you an error. So we have to put our escape quotes, our escape character, which is a slash, and we'll get our quotes here. So here, if we wanted to put the escape characters to get the quotes, then we have this right here to give us a new line, which is slash n. Then here is going to give us a tab, so it's slash t. So we have this, we are so-called Vikings from the north, don't mess with us, or we will chop you up. So here, we are so-called Vikings from the north, n gives me a new line, don't mess with us, tab, or we will chop you up. And notice how we don't have a space between the slash n and don't, because if you do, again, like I said, you'll see that we get this character right here. So if you don't want it to be like that, I know it's messy, but hey, that's the way it has to be done. And so again, if you guys need more information on that, go to the link or go to w3school.com. They have a bunch of different information on strings. You guys can check out that, or just online anywhere if you need more information about strings. In this video, we're going to be talking about the Python operators. And so again, if you need more, w3school.com. But the basics of it is just we have 5 equals 10, which is false. Then we have 5 does not equal 10, which is a true statement. 5 does not equal 10. Then we're looking here is 5 less than 10. That's going to give us a true because it is. Then we say is 5 less than or equal to 10. That's also true. And here, if we just change this to 5, you'd see that it's also true because 5 does equal 5. Okay, so we'll change that back. Is 5 greater than 10? No. Is 5 greater than or equal to 10? No. So that's why we get our falses there. Then, if you wanted to, you could say if 5 is less than 5, which is false. So we say not that, which is we're basically negating or doing the opposite of whatever. Basically, it's like the opposite of whatever this returns. So that's going to be true. So 5 is less than 5. Is 5 not less than 5? That is true. Or you can use this little thing right here. You say it's 5 less than 5. I guess this is called a tilde. 5 less than 5, so it's not. This is like the not operator, I guess you could say. So here you have the and operator. So it's 5 less than 5, that's false. 5 is less than 10, that's true. So for ands, all the conditions need to be true in order for it to be true. And for the or condition, only one thing it needs to be true in order for it to be true. And so here is like, let me see here real quick. So even if both of these things, this is false and false, that's going to give us a false. And then if we did this false or false, it's going to give us false. Okay, so again, all you need is one true for or in order for it to be true, and you need everything to be true in order for the and to be true. And so here, we can apply this not to it, but you just have to make sure that you put parentheses. So you're basically saying, give me the opposite of this thing right here. So this is false and this is true. So that's going to give us a false. So we're saying not this. And it's going to switch it over to true. And so here we have this is statement here. So 5 is 10, that's false. Then we have here 5 is not 10, that is true. Okay, and then here again we have the in is hey in yes. No, that is not true. Is hey not in yes? That's true because hey is not in yes, and that's going to give us a true. So again, if you guys need more information, again, W3 School is going to be an absolutely great place for you to go in order to learn more about a whole bunch of different things with Python. In this video, we're going to be going over lists and tuples, and it's just going to be a brief overview. And so here we can have this list of numbers here, and we're just going to set it. Oh yeah, and again, if you want to learn more, as always, W3 School has tons and tons and tons of information on this. You can see here just way more stuff than I'm going to cover in this brief overview. So here, if we run this, we'll set my num list equal to this list of numbers. Let's print it out, and you'll see we get this list of numbers. Same thing, we can get this string list here. We'll print out the string list. We can get the length of the list. So just do len, and then just get that, and you'll get 7, because that's what the length is. So here, this is just showing that you can set multiple. You can set the list as like strings, numbers, booleans. Here you can set it as like complex, as string, number, boolean, number, string, and then it doesn't even matter. It's just a list of things. And so if we wanted to access each one of these things, then we start to do the slicing. And, again, if you guys don't understand what slicing is, I would highly recommend doing some more research on it. But again, I think that we've covered the basics here, so it should be able to serve you well enough, or you should understand it. And so here, if we want to get 0, because again, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 0, we're going to get the 0 place. The thing about lists is that you can actually change that. So if we did 0, I want to change 0 to 7. Well, now we had it as A, B, C, and now it's 7. And so if I wanted to access, let's say, the last part of the list, I just do -1. If I wanted to access the second to last part of it, I do -2. And here, if I wanted to just get the 0 and 1 part of the list, then we just do nothing and 2. If I wanted to get 2 and 3, because again, when you're slicing this number right here, it's always like -1. So if you wanted to get the third column, you have to do 4. So here we're going to get true and 40, because it's going to give us, this is 2 and 3. And for the list, if you wanted to append to the list, you just do list1.append hello. And so here we would append hello to the end of the list. And again, there's a whole bunch of different things. You can join, you can sort, you can remove, you can, there's just so much. But here, if we wanted to join, you could just do a simple plus. So you'd have to do this list plus this list 2, and then it'll join the list together. And so the main difference between list and tuple is that tuple cannot be changed once you have set the tuple, which is a pretty good thing. So here you have my tuple. So I'm just going to do, you can turn the list into a tuple by just wrapping tuple around the list. Or I could have, done this right here. And let's just do this. And wait, why did I copy that twice? So here, what we do is we just put this, and we'll wrap it in parentheses like this. And so now it's basically a tuple. And so, or if I wanted to change this tuple into a list, I could just do this, list, wrap it in list, and now my tuple has now become a list, okay? But I didn't save it. I just changed it to a tuple here. So in order to access the tuple, certain sections of the tuple, then you'll be able to see here that we just do the same exact thing as how we did with the list. We just want to access 0. And then here, if I try to change it, it says tuple object does not support item assignment. So again, once you have assigned the tuple number, that's what it is. Okay, and so here again, if you wanted to join the tuples, you can do so by just adding the tuples together. And so again, like I said, come up here, W3 School as Python list right here. tons and tons of different things that you can look at. And then here we have these tuples. You have tons of different things that you can look at as far as tuples go. But again, if you've covered the basics and you understand slicing and understand looping and stuff like that, then you basically understand everything that you can do with the tuple and list. In this video, we're going to be going over dictionaries. And again, as always, if you want to learn more, w3school.com. So what is a dictionary? Well, basically, think of it as a list with keys. Okay, so here we're going to create this dictionary. So if we have a key named brand and the value that's within the key of brand is Ford, key of model, value within that is Mustang, year, key, it's 1964. So if we wanted to access certain information within this dictionary, we just do myDict brand, and that'll tell us what the value is. So we're accessing the key brand, and we're getting Ford as the value. And so here, if I wanted to do myDict and I wanted to do this as year, then it will tell me what the value is of that year. So it's key colon value, key colon value, key colon value. Okay, and we can get the length of the dictionary, which will tell us how many, basically it counts up the amount of keys that we have. So we have 3 keys here. And so if you don't want to do it this way to create a dictionary, which I prefer to do it this way, like this, it's just a little bit easier. It's a less of these colons and what are these things called here? Quotation marks. I just like to do it this way, but it doesn't matter. So if you wanted to create a dictionary, you could do it like this, dict, and then put your equals, and then it'll do the same thing. Key equals this. So key equals value, key equals value, key equals value, and that'll end up getting you something like this. And so within the dictionary, you can have, just like with lists, you can have nested lists inside of lists, inside of lists, inside of lists, inside of lists. You can have dictionaries inside of dictionaries, inside of dictionaries, and each key can have multiple dictionaries inside of it. It can basically store anything. You can have a just gigantic dictionary of things, of tons of things. And so here you have a dictionary with brand Ford. This is a Boolean. This is a year. This is a list. And again, you could even do something like things here, and we'll do this, and this will also be things two. Well, let's just create a dictionary. Dict equals, and then this will be things 2 equals, whatever. Then here we would do things 3 equals 1, 2, 3, whatever. And so now you can see here we have a dictionary, myDict, brand Ford, electric, false, year this, colors this. Then inside of that we have a things key, which has a dictionary, which also has keys and values inside of that as well. And so yeah, you can just get kind of insane with this. And so here, if you wanted to see the items of the dictionary, you can do dict.items, and it will it returns this, except pretty ugly. But this is how you do for loops if you wanted to do that. And here we wanted to just get the keys of our dictionary. We could just do mydict.keys. You get brand, electric, year, color, things. And then if we wanted to get just the values, then we see that we have Ford, false, this. We have our list, and then we have our dictionaries, our dictionary right here. And here, if I wanted to add something to the dictionary, all I have to do is just do myDict, give it a key, and then tell it what I want the value to be of that key. And so here we do this, and then if we now look at this, we'll see we have brand, electric, year, color, things. Now we have numbers as a key, and then if we did values, you would see that we have Ford, false, blah, 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 and then at the end of it, we have our tuple of numbers. So dictionaries are pretty useful in that sense, to where you can basically just store a whole bunch of information. And again, as always, if you need to learn more, because I don't really use dictionaries that much in my programming, but they're very, very useful, w3school.com. w3school.com has everything you basically need in order to figure out more about the basics of dictionaries beyond what I just taught, if you needed more. I feel like this has covered the basics of dictionaries and everything that you needed involved with that. Okay, for this video, we are going to be looking at the if, elif, and else statements for Python. And as always, w3school.com, even though basically all these examples are pulled from w3school. So here, all we're doing is setting b equal to 200, a equal to 33. We're seeing is 200 greater than 33. The answer is yes, so we will come out here and we will print this statement, okay? And down here, what we're going to do is we're going to say, if we're going to switch it up, b is 33, a is 200. If b is greater than a, then do this. Else, if this is false statement, then do this, okay? And so here we're going to say b is 33, a is 200, b is not greater than a. Therefore, we come down to here because that's a false statement, and we take care of it with b is not greater than a. And here, we're going to check to see, is b greater than a? No, that's not true. Elif is a equal b. So elif is basically a situation to where you can have another if statement within this like sequence of ifs, okay? So we have the sequence of if this, then this, if this, then this, if this, then this, if this, then this, okay? And so that's the way you chain, if you wanted to chain it all together, then you use elif, okay? And so we're going to do that, and we've done that already. And so now we're going to do a chain of if, elif, and then else. So else basically ends your if statement chain. So here we're seeing b is 33, a is 200. So this is false. Then we're going to check if this is true. If this is true, then we'll do this, but it's false. Else, it basically handles all of the things right here. Okay? And so if I wanted to, I could also do something like this, where I could say elif a is greater than or equal to b. Then let's see here. A is greater than or to b. So now we have that. So you can see here we have this chain going all the way down, and I could even move it up like this, and we would come here, check, that's false, come here, check, this is true, and then we wouldn't even, there's no need to do the rest of these because this is part of the chain. The chain has now been broken because this is true, so we do that, and then we dip out. And so the next thing that we have here is we have our one-liner if statement here, which is if a is greater than b, then print this. And so a is greater than b. And so here we have a one-liner if-else statement. And so we're saying if a is greater than b, then print a, else print b. So print a if a is greater than b, else print b. And so here we got b printed out here. And so here we're using the and statement, which we learned about a little bit earlier. So if a is greater than b and c is greater than a, both of these conditions are true. And at least one of these conditions has to be true for the or statement, like we talked about previously. And with the not statement, again, we spoke about that. A is not greater than b, so a greater than b, that is false. But then we're taking the not of that, so we're taking the opposite of the result. And a is not greater than b, so this is true. A is not greater than b. And here's where you can have if statements within if statements within if statements within else statements within if statements, and you can just keep stacking them and stacking them and stacking them. So we have is if x is greater than 10, which is true, print above 10. Then we check again, is x greater than 20, also above 20. Boom. And so we have that going on like that. And last, we have this pass right here, which you say here, if b is greater than a, just pass, and pass just basically means do nothing. And so those are all of the examples. Like I said, for the W3 school, I literally took all the examples that they had here, so there's really nothing else here. But if you need more and you want to just read about it, you can go there and read if you'd like. Okay, it is now time to go over for loops, which you will be using a lot. And so, as always, W3 School for more information on for loops. That's just a starting point. I got a lot of my examples from there, so you'll probably see a lot of redundancy if you go there. But first thing here is we're going to set fruits equal to this list right here, and we're going to go X in fruits. So we're going to say, give me apple, then give me banana, then give me cherry. And that's basically exactly what happens here. So for X in fruits, so X is going to just equal, it's just going to enumerate through each one of these. And here we have this X in bananas. And so again, we talked about earlier that these strings are treated as arrays. And so we're just going to basically print out B-A-N-A-N-A. And here we can do the same exact thing for numbers. Numbers is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we can also just basically have, I just wanted to put this here as well. Well, I probably should have just put this down here like this and done it like this. Then we put this here. This would make a little bit more sense. So we have 4x in this list. So you can basically, what I'm trying to demonstrate here is you can put a list here, and then you can for loop through the list. So it doesn't have to be like saved as a variable and then put right here. You can just put the list right there if you'd like. And so for here, we have this thing break. And so what break will do is get you out of any of the loops that you have set. So we're going to be in this for loop going through the numbers. We're saying if x equals 3, then we will break it. And so here you'll see that we have this 1, 2, 3. So we're printing 1, we're printing 2, we're printing 3. Once we get to 3, we break and we're done with the loop. And so for continue, what that does is we'll have x is going to be 1, we'll print 1, x is going to be 2, we'll print 2. Once we get to 3, we're going to have this, and it's going to say continue, which means basically go back up to here and grab me the next piece of information in the series, and then we're going to go and change it to 4, and 4 equals, x equals 4. We're going to continue again. We're going to get the next number, which is going to be 5. X does not equal 5 here for this to be true, or whatever I'm trying to say. And, well, x equals 5, so that means that x is not 3 or 4, which is false, and so we'll go back down here to print x, which is what I was meaning to say. And so we'll have that, and then we'll go to 6, and then we'll be done. And that's why you see 1, 2, 3, and 4 are skipped, 5 and 6. So here we're going to do range, and so as you'll notice when we print this here, we start at 0 and go to 5. That is because along with the arrays, you know, when we did array 0:5, it would basically send us through 0 through 4. And so it's the same thing here. 6 is going to be, range 6 is going to start at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then stop at 6, okay? So if you wanted 6, you have to go up to 7, okay? And here, because we are actually doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 loops, but we're printing 0 through 6, okay? So just make sure that you are remembering that whenever you're doing your loops. And so it's going to be the same thing here. When we do a range, we're basically saying, you can see here it says start, stop, step, start, stop, step. So if you just send 1, we're going to start at 0 and go all the way up to this -1 as far as the printing goes. Then here for the range, we're going to start at 2 and go all the way up to 6 -1, which we see here, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here you can do the step. And so here we're going to go from 0 through 30 in steps of 3. What's going to happen here? 0 through, again, if you wanted to get 30, you have to do 31. And we would end up going 0 all the way up to 30. Okay, and so these are very, very important. These last 3 right here, you're going to be using these a lot if you don't understand them. So just make sure that you understand them. Or again, what we're going to do, you go to W3 School. I got a lot of my information from up here, and you guys can check that out, or check out any other website that you think is good if you need more information to read. Here, I feel like I've given you enough information to work with for loops pretty efficiently. Now we're going to be going over functions for this lesson. And so, as always, W3 School. But again, I got a lot of my examples from there. So, but if you like to read, go ahead and check that out. So for a function, it's basically just a block of code which only runs when you call it. You can pass parameters and different things like that, but you can see here, we're not going to have any parameters. We're not going to send this function anything. We'll name it my function. It's just going to print out hello from a function. So if we run that, you'll see hello from a function. So if we remove this part and we just run the cell, you'll see that when you run the cell by itself, literally nothing happens. But when we actually just call it, you'll see like this. And you'll see that we also have to make sure that we have the parentheses next to it, because if we just do this, you're just going to basically return what it is. What type of, what is this type basically? And it'll tell you that it's basically a function. So if you want to call the function, you have to make sure that you have the parentheses afterwards. So here you can see that we have my function. It has a fname, which is a parameter, which is something that you can send to functions. And so you can see here, this function is, when it's created, it'll take this fname, put it into this print statement, plus this whatever this is. I don't know what this is. I don't know what this word is, but it's supposed to be a last name. I don't even know what type of last name this would be. Oh, that's what these are, like lorem ipsum. Okay, that's what it is. So here we have email whatever. Man, this is impossible. So we'll say Mike. This is going to be John. And this is going to be Lily. There we go. So fname Smith. Then we have here function Mike Smith, John Smith, Lily Smith. And so here we will, this is going to be Johnny. Is that how you spell Johnny? No. Mike. We already have Mike, but whatever. And this is going to be Smith here. Okay. So here with the function, you're passing two parameters. Okay. And so here we're going to print fname plus last name function Mike Smith. Boom. We run it like that. And then let's get another function here. This will be Daisy Johnson. This is not how you spell Daisy. Daisy Johnson, okay? And so you can see here, Mike Smith, Daisy Johnson. So you're passing those. And for the first one, you don't have to send the parameters. But if you don't send the parameters, it's in the order, okay? Because if I switch this up, you'll see that it's going to be Smith Mike. So it doesn't, the function doesn't know which one it is. It just knows that this is the order for fname, lname. This is going to be fname, lname. So if you want to, you could actually, so you can see here, so I could take this and switch this down here. So it's lname first, fname second, and that's fine, because you're telling it, I want fname to equal Daisy, I want lname to equal Johnson. And so for me personally, I always, no matter if it's a function that has just one parameter, I always like to include this equals, just so that way I know what's happening. Also, if somebody else is looking at your code, they know what's happening. And so I like to do it like that. But again, it's up to you. And so here we have a function that has a default. And so here we have the country equals Norway is default. And so you can see here, I am from country. And when we run this, you'll see that we can override the default value. So Sweden is going to be I am from Sweden, I am from India. And here, when we call the function without anything, you'll see that the string, it's going to be a string. It's Norway by default. And so here you can see here, I am from Norway, because if you don't send anything, it'll just put the default. And then you see here, I am from Brazil. And the next thing here is we can also return. You can do math in here. So if you don't know what you want, if you need the user's input or something like that, or you don't know what's going to happen, but you need to multiply this thing by 5, that's where these functions come into play. So here you can see we're sending in 3, and it's just going to do 5 times 3. My function, and then you print. And so also too, when you are returning things in a function, that is when you can store it as a variable. And so here you can see my function 5. So what would happen here is we're going to take this 5, put it into this equation. 5 times 5 is going to be 25, and that's what x is going to be stored as. And then here you can see that if we print x, you will see that we will get 25. So when you are returning something, you can store that as a variable. And so again, as always, Python functions from W3 school. Again, I got a lot of my examples from here, but again, it's, if you'd like to read, you guys can check that out there. For this video, we're going to be going over the basics of NumPy. As always, if you want to learn more, go to numpy.org/docs/stable/user/basics.html. The numpy.org docs is the place to go for anything related to NumPy, or you can try to go on Google and type in anything, but we'll just go over a nice little recap here of, or not a recap, but just going over the basics of some of the stuff that I'm using on a constant basis with NumPy. So here we have this import NumPy as NP. And so that's just gonna, instead of having to type NumPy every single time like numpy.array, you just type NP. So the very first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna create an array. And so if we just run this, we have a equals np.array, and then you have to put your parentheses, and then you have to put your brackets, 1, 2, 3, close brackets, close the parentheses, and you will now have created a NumPy array. And here, this is an easy way to create a NumPy array of zeros. So this is going to just be an array the size of 2 with that is just filled with zeros. And so if I hover my mouse over this, you can see that we have this. It tells you exactly what you need here. And again, if you need more information on these, again, this is where you go to the NumPy docs. And here, if we want a NumPy array filled with ones, np.ones, this is 2. If we want just an empty array, then what we want to do is just run this. You can see here, we'll get an empty array. It says 1.1, 1.1, but this is just like filler text, I guess you could say. It doesn't actually have a what do you call it? A information in there necessarily. So if we do this, you'll see it just comes up as these like random numbers and stuff like that. Again, these are just fillers, and so it's not actually filled with an actual number. So here, if we're trying to just create a range, what's going to happen here is np.arrange. It's going to give us 0, 1, 2, 3, not up to 4. So if you wanted 4, again, you'd have to go to 5. So just whatever number you put here, just understand that you're going to go to 1 less than that number. And so here we'll just run this. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3. And so here, what we're doing, again, if we hover our mouse over it, start, stop, step. And so here we have 2 through 9, all the way to 9 in steps of 2. So again, we have 2, 4, 6, 8. Like we talked about earlier, if you wanted it, you don't do this because then it's going to only give you 6. We needed to go all the way to 9. Okay, so 2, 9, 2, and we'll be in steps of 2. And then linspace, I don't use this that much, but I guess it's kind of important to know. So if we run this, you'll see that we're saying 0 through 10. So you see here the start stop number. And so here what we're saying is I want an array of size 5 with numbers between 0 and 10. And so it's going to do 0, 2.5, 5, 7.5, 10. Okay, so that's what linear space does. And here for the ones, you see this thing, if you hover over, you see that there's this D type. And so here we can see with the ones we were given floats 1.1. And so if you wanted things to be ints, you could just do this, D type underscore np dot int 64. And so here, what are we looking at? Well, we have this D type int 64, 1 and 1. I normally like to just do int like this, and it'll just change these to ints. But if you want it to be int 64, 32, whatever number, then you can go ahead and do it this way. Either way is fine. 64 is fine. And so here we're going to create this array 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 5, 3, 7, 4, you know, whatever. And so the reason why we're creating that is because here we have this set to np.sort. Okay. np.sort is just going to literally sort the array. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that's one of the other functions that can be useful if you're trying to do that. I really haven't used it that often, but it just depends on how you want to run your strategy and stuff like that. And so here, the question becomes, how do you concatenate? How do you bring two arrays together? And well, the answer is right here. What we're doing is A equals 1, 2, 3, 4, B equals 5, 6, 7, 8, and then you just do np.concat, and you have A comma B, and now we're turning them both into your arrays, because unlike with lists where you can just do a list plus list and it'll concatenate them together, that actually does mathematics when you're dealing with arrays. And so here we're just creating this array example here. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so if we run this, you'll see that we have a three-dimensional array. Boom. Has this, and has this. Okay, so this is like a 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, I think, 0, 0, 2, I think. So let's run this. We have number of dimensions is 3. The size is going to be, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's basically 24, right? 6 times 4. So we have 24 total elements inside of this. And then our shape is going to be 3, 2, 4. Okay, so forget what I said over here about the 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 2, 0, 0, 3. That was completely wrong. So it is actually 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, and then 2, 0, 0. Because we have a shape of 3, 2, 4. So this is the third dimension. This is the rows, and then this is the columns. So I don't know. I don't know if we have a word actually for whatever this is called, but would be the third dimension. These are the rows, and these are the columns. So here we have, we're going to just create this arrange right here, and this is going into reshaping. So if we wanted to reshape this, the reshape, you have to make sure that your math is correct to where it's like, whatever this number is, this number and this number have to multiply to be 6. Okay, because if you tried to do like 4 and 1 or whatever it is, it's not going to work. You'd have to do 3 and 2 or 1 and 6, or you could do 2 and 3. So if I did this, so it has to be in multiples of 6, because that's the size. So whatever the size is, this reshape has to be in multiples. And so here we have this. So this reshape right here, you have this new shape, and then we have A. And so here, what are we doing? We're saying A, new shape, and then we're saying 1 and 6. And so what that's doing is, you can see we went from a one-dimensional array to now we are a two-dimensional array. So that's what this 1 is right here. Okay. And then here we have our array again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Even though, okay. And here, this, if we run this right here, you'll see that we are adding another axis. So here, this new shape 1 and 6 reshape is creating this and turning it into a two-dimensional array. This right here, this np.new axis, remember, or for the slicing side of things, we'll get into that in the next thing. We are adding a new dimension by doing np.new axis. Now I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I've never used this before, and I'm very rarely reshaping or adding new dimensions and stuff like that to my arrays for my strategies and stuff like that. But you know, who knows, maybe this is something that you need to do. So I wanted to make sure that I included, because I do use reshaping every once in a while in the actual Quant Freedom code, but that's besides the point. So you can also have here this np.expand dimensions, and we're saying A axis 0, and again that is going to add another dimension here. We've gone from a one-dimensional array to a two-dimensional array. Okay. And so here, what we can do is, you'll see here that we've added a new column. So we have row, 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 row. Okay, and so now we have that set up. So if you wanted to turn that into that, but this is anyways, we'll get to it in a second. So again, here we have expand dimensions. Axis 1 is going to turn this into multiple rows here that we have. Okay, so how does this work when it comes to how does NumPy work when it comes to mathematics? Well, if you run this, you'll see our call vector. If we do times 3, we are multiplying 3 by each one of these. So 3 times this, times this, times this, times this, times this, times this. And so that's what it comes, that's where we call it like vectorizing or vector based. And so this is where it differs from lists, is now since we're dealing with arrays, we're dealing with vectors. And so here, 3 times 3 times 3. Now, when it comes to dealing with adding or subtracting two arrays together, then you run this, and now we are adding 1 plus 1, 2 plus 2, 3 plus 3, 4 plus 4, 5 plus 5, 6 plus 6. And so it does this without having to do any types of for loops or any of that other stuff. So it's just vector. So I don't know, NumPy handles this in the backend side of things. And so you don't have to worry about any of that for loop stuff or any of that other stuff, which is absolutely amazing. And it's way faster than actually doing for loops and things like that. For this video, we're just going to be going over some indexing and slicing. As always, numpy.org/docs if you need to know more. But we're going to be covering some of the basics here. So import NumPy as NP. Then we're just going to have data equal np.array 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then what we're going to do is we're going to slice and say, give me 1. So this is 0, 1, 2. That's how the elements work here. 0, 1, 2 are the columns. 0, 1, 2. So if we do this, that means that we're going to be grabbing the number 2. So if we run this, boom, you'll see that we have number 2. So let me get rid of all the answers. So boom, we have number 2. So here, what we are going to be doing is saying, well, we don't actually have to have this 0. So we're going to say data colon 2, which means give me 0 and 1. Okay, because whenever, again, as always, this, just think of this as like -1. Okay, so you're going to be given 0, 1. So basically this is saying give me 2 of the columns. But in computer language, it's saying 0, 1, but that's actually two elements, right? So boom, we're going to get 1 and 2. Again, this 2 is representing 0 and 1, okay? And so for here, the exact opposite. When you say 1, that basically means this 1 right here. So when you're starting, you actually get this number. When you're ending, you're getting this number -1 as far as the columns go. Okay, so when we run this, we're going to get 2 and 3. So you see here we have 2 and 3, and then this is saying go from the end and go back 2, and so this should give us 2 and 3 as well. Okay, so negative means start from the back and go to the left. Okay, so that's what the -2 is. So if I did -1, that means it's going to grab the last element right here, -3. 3. And so that's how that works. Okay, and so for A, what we're going to do here is just create this simple 2-dimensional array that has row 1, row 2, row 3, and then we have 4 columns here. Okay. And we'll go over slicing that in just a second. Actually, we should probably do that first. So let's go ahead and move this up here like this, and copy this, bring it right here, and let's just go over the slicing a little bit here. So this 2 and 2 is basically saying, give me row 2, and then give me 2. So 0, 1, 2, right? So that's 0, 1, 2, and this is saying give me 2. 0, 1, 2. Okay? So again, when you're dealing with absolute numbers, that's what you're getting. And if we were to come down here and grab this, delete this, bring this bad boy up here. Oh, we already did that. So let's go ahead and do this right here. Boom. And let's say -1. Let's say 2. So what's happening here? We are saying, give me this 0. Give me rows 0 and 1, because again, we're going up to 2. So 0 and 1, give me those rows, and then give me the last element in those rows, which is going to be 4 and 8. So if I copy this and paste this, and we come over here and we do, this is going to be like this. Then what happens here again? We're saying, give me 0 and 1, and then now we're saying, give me 0 and 1, and then 0 and 1. So that's how you get 1 and 2 and 5 and 6. Okay? And so that's how you're going to be doing a lot of your slicing when it comes to your NumPy arrays. And so here, what we're doing is now we're going to start to apply some mathematical operators to this. And so actually I should probably do this first. So here, if we run this, we're basically saying, give me true wherever a is less than 5. And so we're saying true, 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 false, 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 right? Because this is what a looks like. So what this is saying, give me, return to me all of the elements in a where a is less than 5. And so we're saying true, 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 true. So it's going to only return row 0, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, right? If I did this, let's see, 7, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Boom. So that's how we get this. Again, if we do this greater than or equal to 5, we'll have false, 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 true, 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 true. And again, you could apply that inside of here, and it would give you the same exact thing. So here, this is just more of the same, where it's like a divided by a modular 2 equals 0. So this is basically saying, give me all of the even numbers. And so you'll be able to see that right there. It'll return that. So in a, give me all of the give me all the elements where a divided by a modular 2 is 0, or a remainder 2 is 0. So here, what do we have here? This is a function basically saying, or not a function, but mathematical operator saying, where a is greater than 2 and a is less than 2, let me know, give me those elements. And it'll give you those elements. So you can put your ands in here. You can put like multiple ands and ors and different things like that. So here we're also saying the same thing. So where a is greater than 0 or a equals 5. Or a is greater than 5 or a equals 5. Boom. And we have this. Or we could say a is less than 11. And I should say, well, whatever. I don't want to think right now. I'm tired. A is greater than 5 or a equals 5. So that's how you get these true and falses. So I should probably switch this like this. True and falses, and then you apply that into here, and then you get the elements. Okay, and so let's just delete this because we've already done that. And so here, these non-zeros is basically saying the same exact thing. So let's run this again just to, shouldn't have deleted that. So we have this true, 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 right? So the non-zeros are going to show up right here in these trues. The falses are zeros. So inside of, computer talk, zeros is false, 1 is true. So this is non-zero. And so here, if we run this again, you basically apply the same exact thing. So you don't necessarily have to do this, but non-zero is an important thing to understand. But again, we've already gotten the same results by just doing this inside of A, as we've already seen previously. In this video, I'm going to be going over some of the NumPy functions that I'm using on a regular basis. And so again, as always, numpy.org for the docs if you need more information. But we're going to start out with import numpy as np, and then we're going to have our Well, first I have to run this. So then we're going to come back, make this array again as well, np.array 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 to all the way up to 12. Two-dimensional array with 3 rows and 4 columns. And so here for this a.sum, this is just going to basically take all of these and sum up everything. So everything that's in here, we're just doing like 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus blah 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 blah, and that's the sum, right? And so for this min, what we're saying is find me the minimum value in this entire array. Okay. And if you need more information, you can also do axis. So if you wanted to just get like this column right here, you could say, or this row or this column, or, you know, this column right here, this column right here, this column right here, that's when you can use axis. But again, if you need to, you can look up that information. This is just a brief overview. So here we have a.min. And so that's where you're looking, give me the minimum number here. Here, give me the maximum number. Again, this is saving so much time for instead of doing for loops through things. And cumulative sum here. Boom, we've got this. 1, 3, 6, 10. So we're returning the sum at each one of these all the way up to 78. So the sum right here just gives you 78. This is going to return the cumulative sum of all of these, which is very important sometimes, at least for me, when I'm doing my Quant Freedom, actually building the backtester. For my strategy, I haven't used this, but it's an important thing to know. And for my strategy though, man, oh my God, this where function is used a lot, you know, a lot. So np.where a is less than 5, it's basically saying where this is true, put np.nan, else put a, or we could just do 5, right? And so we're saying a is less than 5, where it's true, put nan, else put 5, okay? So you could do a if you'd like, and you could bring it back to that. So this is something that is very important, these numpy.where, np.where functions. And so now we have this mean. So now we're saying grab all of the information in A and give me the mean, which comes out to be 6.5. So now the point T, okay? And so what we were talking about in the previous, which was reshaping and changing the dimensions and different things like that, transpose basically does that. So it'll take this from a 3-4 matrix into a 4-3 matrix. And it'll take the first row and make it a column, the first column. Then we'll have the second row and we'll make it a column, third row, and make it a column right here. So that's what your transpose does, is it basically transposes, right? That's what transposes. Okay. And so for flatten, what this is going to do is going to take all the dimensions and flatten them into a one-dimensional array. And I actually just found this out. If you put like a.flatten or a.ones or a.mean or np.where, and then you put a comma after, a question mark afterwards, then it will bring up the numpy docs. So if we go into this, oh, well, it's not going to be there. But this will bring up the docs, so you don't have to necessarily go to the documentation on NumPy, the website. You can just do this, and then it'll tell you what the doc string is, which is basically what they have on NumPy. And it'll tell you what it returns, the order, the parameters, and then different things. And here's some examples that it'll show you as well. So these are some of the functions that I'm normally using within NumPy. And again, if you need more, which I'm sure that we all will, again, numpy.org, and read the docs. For today's video, we're going over the Pandas basics. And if you want to learn more, pandas.pydata.org, go and check out their documentation. I spent a lot of time there. So what we're going to do here is import pandas as PD and then import numpy as NP. So we'll run that to make sure that everything is good and we can use them. And so here what we're going to do is we're just going to create a pandas series, which is basically kind of like a numpy array except with an index. And so here we'll just run this, and you can see we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. and 1, 3, 5, np.nan 6, and 8, and they're all floats because np.nan is a float. So all of these things are going to be the same data type. And so here, what are we doing? We are doing a pd.date range, and we're basically saying from January 1st, 2013, give me 6 days. I guess that's what this is basically saying. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And you can see the date type is date type 64 in S. So I guess that's nanoseconds. And then the frequency is D for day. And what we'll do now is we'll just create our data frame. Data frame equals pd.dataframe np.random.rand 6 and 4. So this is basically saying I want a 6 by 4, 6 rows, 4 columns array of random numbers. And so that's what we generate. We get our index equals dates, which is, we've already established what dates is. And then the columns is list A, B, C, D. So we have A, B, C, D as our columns. We have our dates as our index right here. And then we have our information of the data frame inside of that. So that's like the very, very simple way to create a data frame if you need to. And so for me personally, I don't really use Pandas data frames that much because they are so extremely slow when it comes to calculations and different things like that. That's why I'm always using Numpy, but you know, we'll include this here just in case you want to. I only use it whenever I am trying to look at data, because we're looking at data through a Numpy array is kind of disgusting. But anyways, so here you can also create a data frame through creating a dictionary. And so here we have our keys, and then we have our information within those keys. And so if we run this, you'll see that we have our A column, B, C, D, E, F. And then our index, since we didn't set an index, it's just going to give us our 0, 1, 2, 3 for our index. And so our A is going to be 1. Our timestamp is going to be this. Our PD timestamp is going to be this. Then our C, D, E is test train, and F is foo, 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 foo. And so if we do this for data types, we'll be able to see each one of these has their own data types for the column: 64, date time, float, int, category, and object. And here, if we wanted to start to slice through and see kind of what our data frame, like the information in our data frame in little chunks, I use the .head method a lot, because sometimes you'll have like, I don't know, 6,000 rows or something like that, and you can do this .head. And you can also slice it just like we did with the Numpy array. Well, I thought that you could. I guess I lied. So here we have this 2. Well, actually, now that I take that back, that wouldn't make any sense because we're going to get into slicing and indexing later. So forget that I just said that. So df.head 2, this is just going to give us from 0 to 0, 2, 0, 2. And then tail is going to give us the last 3. So this is going to be our last one, second to last one, third to last one. So then head 2 is going to give you just 0, 2, all the way up to whatever you say, or 0 and 1. And so if we do our df.index, we are basically going to get back what we just created for dates. And so that's going to tell us, hey, I want the index of my data frame, boom, and then it comes out like this, and it shows you exactly what you have for your data frame. Here we can do the same thing, df.columns. It's going to give us a list of our columns, so basically our headers, and it'll tell you the data type of that as well. Again, when I was using Pandas in the past, these two things were completely and totally essential, but like I said, I've basically moved away from Pandas almost entirely. And here, our df to numpy, you can see that we have this. It'll basically take everything, remove the indexes, remove the columns, and then just give you, I mean, basically all we're doing is returning this. You know, we're returning the information within the data frame. And so here, if we did df2.numpy, then we would be able to see that we get a numpy array, but it's an object. And so we have the timestamps and all of that other stuff, except it's just a numpy array format. And here, if we do df.describe, you'll be able to get like count, the mean of the, standard deviation, minimum 25%, 50%, 75%, maximum. You can get all that information, but, again, I'm not really using Pandas data frames that much. So, but thought I'd give you guys a little bit of to be aware of it, because I do use it from time to time to display information. In this video, we're going to be talking about the Pandas indexing and slicing. And so again, go to the Pandas documentation if you need more on that. And so we'll go ahead and clear this. We'll run this, and it's basically the same thing that we talked about in the previous lesson. And so here we'll just get the date range, periods is 6, same exact thing, ABCD, and then we will go ahead and start with this data frame. And so here, if I wanted to just give me the information for column A, it's going to give me a Pandas series. And so you can see here we have our index and we have our result for each one of these. So we're getting the rows, we're getting column A. And here, this is another way to get column A. So you just put your little brackets, and then you put your quotes, and then you put the title of whatever the column is, and you'll be able to get all of the information for that column. And so now if you come down here, if you wanted to get D, A, and D, and you can see that these are obviously further apart, you just put a list of the columns that you want, DF, A, and D, and that'll give you a data frame of A and D. And here you can do the numbers, the slicing like you do in Numpy, and that will return the rows. So here we're basically saying, give me 0 and 3. And so this, in this situation, in Numpy, usually you would get 0, 1. Well, actually we're getting 0, 1, and 2. This 3 right here was throwing me off. So we're doing 0, 1, and 2. Okay, so that's what we're getting right there. Same exact thing as Numpy slicing and indexing. And here you can do the actual, you can put in what the date is, or whatever your index is. If it's some type of, whatever your index is, you can put it in here and say start here and then end here. And so basically what we're grabbing is 2 through 4. So 2, 3, and 4. And so that's what we're doing right here. So you can grab the indexes like that, and it'll return all of the rows within the indexes that you have selected. And here for dates, this is what we created up here, dates, the PD range. You'll see that if we just did 0, it's no different than how we were doing with Numpy. We're just grabbing the 0 thing right here. And so for this location, it says lock is primarily label based, but it may also be used with Boolean arrays. So this is how you get your information like this. Boom. So what we're saying is, give me the row. I want the row associated with date 0, which is basically this right here, which is our first row. And it's giving us in a series, you have your columns as the index, and now you have your values from each one of those columns in the series. Okay. And so here, if we ran this, we're basically saying, give me all of the rows for the columns A and B. Okay, so this is exactly like how you're doing in Numpy. Give me all the rows for columns A and B. Okay, here we are saying, give me all of the columns that fit within this row. So basically just give me row this. And for here, again, like we showed earlier, you can do, give me these rows from these columns. So I could even change this to D, and you'll be able to see we're getting these rows and these columns. So that'll help you slice and index exactly whatever it is that you need. And then again, if you wanted to get one particular value, lock dates 0A. So boom, and then you'll get this number to show up for you. And now for iLock, what is iLock doing? iLock is primarily integer position based. Okay, so now we're basically getting into how you slice an index with Numpy. That's basically what this is. So this is basically saying, give me row 3 right? And that's what we get, row 3. And here, what are we saying? 3, give me 3 and 4, and then this is saying give me 0 and 1. So we don't even need this. So that's what we're getting. Give me 3 and 4. So this is 3 and 4, rows 3 and 4, and give me columns 0 and 1. 0 and 1. Okay. And here you can do the same thing that we talked about earlier. You're sending a list. Give me rows 1, 2, and 4, and give me columns 0 and 2. And that's what you'll get. So we have 2, 3, and 5 for the days, and then we have 0 and 2 for the columns. And our iLock right here, it's again just more slicing going on here. We're saying give me 1 and 2 for the rows and give me all of the columns. Here we're saying give me all of the rows and these columns right here. Give me columns 1 and 2. And here we're saying go to row 1 and give me the element in column 1. Okay, and so that's what you get right here. And again, this goes back to what we learned in Numpy. So here you're going to be able to get this true and false series that basically says wherever a is greater than 0.5, give me a true, else give me a false. And so you can apply that like we did in Numpy. df brackets this. And so it's basically going to say, give me all of the results where a is greater than 0.5. I'm doing a terrible job explaining this. So I had to change up this number here so that makes a little bit more sense. So we have this as 0.2. And so we're basically saying wherever a is greater than 0.2, return those rows, those rows. And so that's what we're getting here. This is greater than 0.2, this is greater than 0.2. And so wherever a is greater than 0.2, give me the results of the data frame. So that's why we are returning all of these rows right here. So give me the rows in the data frame where a is greater than 0.2. Okay. And so here we're saying, just tell me where within the data frame that we are greater than 0 and give me all of that information. And so here you get all of this, and then we get np.nan values where it's false. So where it's true, you get the results. Where it's false, you get the nan values. And so again, this is how you are doing this through data frames. But again, I personally don't do this. I do everything in Numpy because Quant Freedom basically operates on Numpy. The whole thing operates on Numpy. None of it at all operates on Pandas. But this is important though, because when you're looking through the results and you want to slice certain things and only return certain information and stuff like that, you're gonna use Pandas in order to look, because looking through Numpy is extremely annoying. But when you're finished with your data, using Pandas is very important. So that's why we're going over it. For this video, we're going to be going over how to download the data from Quant Freedom. And so here we have import numpy as np, import plotly.graphObjects as go, from quantfreedom.enums import candle body type, and then from quantfreedom.helper funcs import dl-ex candles and candles to df. And then here I just set np.setPrint options formatter equals float kind, and then I want it to be in this kind of a format here. So then I want to put this parentheses load e. I always do this with all of my whenever I'm using Jupyter Notebook, so that way it auto reloads. So anyways, let's just run this. So we have all of our imports ready to go. And so here, what I'm going to be doing is doing candles equals DL EX candles. And so you can see here at the time of making this, and again, if it could change, obviously I'm constantly updating this thing. And so make sure that if for whatever reason, it doesn't work like this at the time that you're using it, come to the Discord, go to the Twitter, go to the Telegram, go to the Discord, let me know that it doesn't work for you and ask me any questions there. Or you can just check the website and look for this function to see if anything has changed. But for now, this is the way it works. And so here you can come in here and let's actually look inside of this. And so what we're saying here is that the exchanges that we have as of right this minute, again, more will be added, but you have this Binance US, Binance USDM, Apex, Mufex, Bybit. And so we want to put the exchange that we want to use and download the candles from in the exchange right here. And so that's why we have exchange Binance US. The symbol that I'm using is going to be BTC USDT. Depending upon the exchange that you use, this will change possibly. Like I know if I get it from Apex, it's different. I think Mufex, it might be different. So just make sure that you guys have the correct symbol. And then the time frames are always going to be the same, at least as of right now. You're going to use 1M, 5M, 15M, 30M, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we're just going to do 1H. And then candles to download is going to be the amount of candles that we want to get. And so if I just put 500, it's going to say, give me the last 500 candles. But if you wanted to do since or until, we will do that really quick. So let's just copy this. And we did since date time. And so now we have to do date time, which means that we actually have to go up here and import, from date time, date time. Okay. And so we have to run that and date time. And then here we'll just put like 2020 0101. Whoops, not 0101, just 11. And so this is going to be for date time, year, month, day, hour, minute, seconds. So we don't need to put minutes, we don't need to put seconds or anything like that, because if we're downloading the time frames hours, we never really actually need to put seconds because you don't really necessarily deal with that. And so here we'll just start it out at hour 3 or something like that. And then for the until date time, now I want to go all the way until, I don't know, the 20th to hour 14. And I run that. And so if we look at our candles right here, you'll see that we have one starting at hour 3, and then we're going all the way to hour 14. So we're going up to hour 14. We don't want to download the 14th hour. We want to get up to the 14th hour. So that's why you see this all the way to 20. So that's how you can do your since date and your until date. But like I said, the candles to download is just going to say, give me the past 500 candles. And so this is what it looks like. You have your timestamp as your first column, open, high, low, close, and your volume. Okay. And so that's what we have as a Numpy array. And so in the previous section, we were talking about pandas. And that's why I was saying, if you're looking at your data and stuff like that, looking at it in Numpy array is it's not sexy. Let's just be real. It's not sexy. And so in order to sexify it, we need to come over here. And if you wanted to look at the data, that's why I just created this candles to df function. And we just throw it the candles and we run it, and you'll see here that we have it looking a lot more clean, a lot better and stuff like that. And so here we have our date times, and we also have our open, high, low, close, and our volume. Okay, but you don't have to save it as this. In fact, shouldn't really ever, none of the stuff that I use, we would ever be sending a pandas data frame of candles to anything. As of right now, making this today. So we're going to come down here, and now we're going to split the candle up into different variables, because sometimes when you're wanting to send certain information to like indicators and different things like that, you don't necessarily have to do this, but this is just showing you guys how to split up the candles. And so we've already gone over the slicing and the indexing for Numpy. And so here, this candle body type timestamp. And so here I'm saying, give me all the rows of candle body type timestamp. And so I'm saying, give me all of the rows of the timestamp right here. So give me all the rows of the column timestamp. Now, I'm going to run this because then we're doing open, high, low, close. And so I'm going to show you guys if we do this timestamp, it's just going to return all of the timestamps. Now this, again, for our slicing that we've already gone over, this is no different than this. So this candle body type, it's just going to return a number, which is 0. Because I'm saying this is column 0. This is column 0. And so just for me, I made this enums because it's just a million times easier to just say open, high, low, close instead of trying to be like, okay, which column is it, whatever it is. So that's why I created this and that's why I use this. And so, but like I said, I just wanted to show you guys that it returns a 0. So we'll do this, we'll do that. And so now Numpy has a datetime function as a type. And so here, if we do timestamp.asType datetime 64 brackets ms, which is milliseconds, then it will take the timestamps and turn them all into date times. And so that's one of the things that we can do. And so just to look at the candles that we've downloaded, if you wanted to do that, we'll do go.figure with a capital, parentheses, data equals brackets, go.candlestick, parentheses. Then our x-axis is going to just be timestamp.asType datetime 64 ms. And then our open, high, low, close is going to be our open, high, low, close. And the name is going to be candles. And then I like to have my update layout height equals 800 and then x-axis range slider visible equals false. I don't like that range slider. And so if we just run this, we should be able to get what our candles look like. And so we can zoom in here and see exactly what's going on with the candles and stuff like that. And if you need to, you can zoom out. But this is how you download your candles for the most part. This is how you're really going to be downloading your candles and saving your candles and different things like that. And so this goes over everything. And as always, if you guys have questions, Discord, Telegram, all that fun stuff. For this video, we're going to be going over the indicators that currently that I have for the Quant Freedom backtester. And so if you guys want to know what the updated versions are or if there's any more that have been added, again, you can always just go to the website, go to the indicators, and then you can check out everything that's going on over there. And if you need links to anything, always the Discord. Always, always, always. The answer, if you have any questions or something's not working or you don't know where something is, the answer to that is always going to be, if you can't find it on the website, ask it in Discord or just go straight to Discord and ask there. So first thing that we're going to do is just start with our imports. As you guys can see, we're going to do import numpy as in P, then from quantfreedom.enums, import candle body type, from quantfreedom.helperfuncs, import dlex candles, and then from quantfreedom.indicators.tv indicators, import star. This is just going to import everything. And then quantfreedom.plotting base, import this. And again, I'm constantly updating Quant Freedom. So if these imports don't work, or maybe I haven't changed something or anything, this is exactly why. Again, you're going to the Discord to ask questions if you need to. So here, NP set print options, I just always normally set that. So we'll go ahead and run this cell. And then now we're going to download our candles, which we've already talked about. Here, we're going to store timestamp as the timestamp of the candles, and then close as the for the close. So we'll run that. And so now here, if I just type in like EMA or RSI, you'll see these RSI underscore TV show up. These are the indicators that I have for the backtester right now. So if I go over here, you can see this list. This is just the list that I have right now making this. Again, this could change, and this is also in the trading view indicators. Maybe, I don't know, maybe there's going to be some other indicators in the future and stuff like that. Things are always changing, but as of right now, the trading view indicators, I have these WMA, SMA, EMA, RMA, standard deviation, MACD, Bollinger Bands, true range, ATR, all of these different indicators here that you guys can use. And so if we're just gonna type in, let's just say, what do we have here? EMA, RSI. Let's just do SMA. So we have SMA, and what it's gonna happen, you just run this right here, and then you see that it says source and length. We need a source and length. So these are basically based off of TradingView. They give the exact same information, they give the exact same answers, they give the exact same everything that TradingView does as far as the numbers. So the SMA numbers are exactly the same, they show up on the plotting the exact same, everything. So here where our source is going to be close and our length is, I don't know, let's just say 20. And let's run that. And so you'll see here, what's going to get returned is a NumPy array of the SMA numbers. And then what we can do is come down here, and if we type in SMA, if we do plot SMA, so you can see here, that's from our plotting, our plotting base. And so this, we run this, well, let's actually save this. SMA equals this, and let's run that like that. And then here, we're going to say that we need to send the candles. So candles equals candles. And indicator equals SMA. And then the indicator color is going to be yellow, so that's fine. So here you can see here that we do have the SMA showing up. Now this, just plotting right here, all this is just showing you what the SMA looks like, just in case for whatever reason that you needed to see what it looks like on whatever candles you're downloading, just to verify that it's working properly. And so that's what we have for the SMA. Then again, if we come down here, we have the RSI TradingView. This is the exact numbers of the RSI. You guys can even check out some of the videos. Some of these actually even have videos associated with them, showing you exactly how I calculated these things, just so you can verify that it's the exact same thing, but it is. And so here we have the plot RSI. So we provide the candles in the RSI. Now we have the RSI showing up in here in yellow. And EMA, we have the EMA here. Source is going to be closed, length is going to be 50. RSI, we had the source was the close, the length is 14 here. So this is just an overview. You guys don't have to necessarily follow along. I probably should have said that in the very beginning. But here we just have the EMA. This is just showing you the EMA. It's different than the SMA, obviously. And then here we have the squeeze momentum by Lazy Bear, and it's returning 3 different things. And here with the plot, the squeeze momentum, we're just sending it the candles, and the indicators indicator is just the squeeze momentum histogram. And so you can see here that the squeeze momentum histogram is showing up properly here as well. So again, the main thing is you can either just go to the website and check out the TradingView indicators or all of the different indicators necessary, and then you can also just control click on this maybe and go in here and see exactly what is here as well. And like I said, some of these have videos associated with them. I just got to update. Yeah, you can see here we've got an explainer video on the standard deviation and different things like that. So yeah, I guess that's it for the indicator. Then now we're going to move on to our creating the signals for the strategy. All right, for this video, we're going to be going over the exchange settings. And yeah, so as always, everything is being updated. So if it doesn't work or it's changed, check the website for exchange settings. And if you can't find the solution there, you can always ask the Discord. Okay, so for me, I am going to have this my stuff import Mufex keys. Then the exchange that I'm using is the Mufex exchange. You guys can use whatever exchange that you want, but just pay attention. I'm showing you guys why I'm doing this. So from quantfreedom.exchange, Mufex exchange, Mufex, import Mufex. Then the enums from quantfreedom.enums, position mode type and leverage mode type, and then exchange settings. And then from quantfreedom.utils, import pretty QF. And so we'll run this. And the next thing that we'll do is I'm creating my Mufex here. So this is just the Mufex exchange. I'm having my API keys, which is in my stuff. I have my secret key, which is in my stuff here, and then the use testnet is going to be false. So now I've basically just created a Mufex exchange. And so I have that set there. And so when I do that, now inside of Mufex main, I have this .set exchange settings. So again, if you wanted to use Binance or any of these others, they should also have this. If they doesn't, or it doesn't work, or you don't understand it, again, website or Discord for questions. But anyways, so here with this class, I'm calling the function inside of this, which basically is going to set our exchange settings. And so here I'm saying, I want to trade the symbol BTC USDT. I want my position mode to be a hedge mode. With the position mode type, you can have, as of right now, you can have one-way mode, or you can just do buy only, you can do sell only, or you can do hedge mode. Again, that's at the current recording of the video. I always like to choose hedge mode. Then for the leverage mode, you can either do cross or isolated. We're choosing isolated here. So when I run this, what ends up happening is we end up creating a, if I do this, exchange settings, we now have this, and this looks disgusting. So I've created, as far as the printout goes, so I've created a function that basically prints it out to make it look nice and neat like this. And so here you can see we have our asset tick step, or leverage mode, or leverage tick step, and all of this other stuff, okay? I'm going to explain what all of this stuff is, because maybe some of you guys don't want to hook it up or don't want to do all that stuff. Well, you still have to make your exchange settings. And so here, if we come down here, we'll see this. So you can just basically call exchange settings like this, put your parentheses, and now you can fill it in manually. And so here, the asset tick step, that's basically, since I'm going to be trading Bitcoin on the Mufex website, you can do 0.001 Bitcoin. So there's 3 steps. 0.001. So that's 3 steps. So that's what the asset tick step is 3. Okay? Then the leverage mode is obviously leverage mode type is isolated. Then our leverage tick step. The leverage tick step for Mufex Bitcoin is 2. So you can do like 100.56, 100.57, you know, so on and so on. So there's 2 steps for that, okay? Then the limit fee percent for Mufex is 0.0003. The market fee is 0.0006. Wait a minute. I think they might have just reduced their limit fees and market fees. Wow, okay. I gotta check on that. Max asset size is 100. In fact, I need to check now. Okay, so your market fees and our limit fees, and then here the max asset size. So the biggest size that I can put in for a trade on Bitcoin, according to, for Mufex, is 100. So I can trade up to 100 Bitcoin, which is insane. Then the max leverage for Mufex is 150. The minimum asset size that I can trade with is the minimum I can trade is 0.001 Bitcoin. The minimum leverage I can have is 1 leverage, 1.0. And the MMR percent is 0.004. So MMR is the maintenance margin rate, okay? And so that here in Mufex, it's 0.004. The position mode, okay? So the position mode is going to be 3, and the price tick step is going to be 1. And the position mode is just either going to be hedge mode. So we should actually bring this over here and put this here, because position mode type.hedge mode is 3. And then the price tick step is 1 for BTC. So you can have like 3,000.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, whatever it is. So their price tick step is just 0.1. And so you have to make sure that whatever exchange that you're using, you fill everything out properly, because when the backtester is running, it's going to use this information to check certain things, to assess certain things. And so this information has to be correct in order for you to run a proper backtest. So if we just run this, you'll see that it shows up like that, which is extremely ugly. And so, but it's going to basically be the same exact thing here. So if we just run this like so, then it prints out like this. Okay, and so that is why you need the exchange settings. Now we're going to be going over the backtest settings. And so here we're going to do from quantfreedom.enums import backtest settings, from quantfreedom.utils import prettyqf, and then here we're going to have prettyqf underscore or parentheses named tuple, or we could just put like this, and that's not going to work because we have to run the cell and then run this. And so here for the backtesting settings, we have our gains percent filter. So what this will do is basically at the end of your strategy, you get the backtest, you get a gains percent. And so let's move over here and I'll show you guys really quickly. So here we have this gains percent. And so you can see here, just with this strategy that I ran for the strategy I ran, you have negative 22% gains, negative 12, negative 12, negative 11, negative 11. Okay. And this is just messing around, making sure that this works. So what you'd want to do is when you're really actually testing out a strategy, you'd probably want to have a gains percent filter of like 0. Like, because who cares about anything that lost me money? I don't need to see anything that lost me money. And so that's also going to save you on memory as well. And so here you'd probably want to have a gains percent filter. But when you're first testing to make sure that your strategy actually is going to backtest properly and stuff, you don't want to test that many things. And so you probably just want to leave it as negative infinity. And then here we have the next thing that we have is a QF filter, which is my Quant Freedom filter, and that's a QF score. And so that's the QF score here. And so what we want to make sure is that we're dealing with something that also is probably above 0. That's usually what you want. If I'm being honest, as far as what I have found, having a Quant Freedom score of like 0.8 and above is the best, because this score basically tells you how straight to the upside your strategy is. Okay, so the more straight to the upside it is, the better. Okay, and so you'd want a QF score of like 0.8, 0.9. If you can get like a 0.97, I mean that means you're basically dealing with basically no drawdown. Okay, and so that's what the QF score filter is. The total trades filter is pretty self-explanatory. Sometimes if you're doing a strategy over like 5 months, 6 months, you're dealing with like thousands upon thousands upon thousands of candles, you might not want a strategy that only traded 2 times or something like that, but it all depends on whatever it is that you're looking for. And then the last is record size, and this is going to be the array size of how big the record is going to be. And so the record is basically this thing. So in this situation, we only had a total of these 5 right here. And so, you could have made the record size like 10 or something like that. And this is just to save memory. Even if this thing is 10,000, at the end of the backtest, it's going to actually cut it down to only the things that are necessary. Okay. And so all of these is basically to help save you on memory, because again, there is no reason, if you're backtesting and you have like 30,000 different possible combinations and results or whatever it is going to be, that you would need to report all 30,000 of those, because some of them are going to be the results are going to be so atrociously bad that it's like, who cares? And so you can reduce the amount of memory that you're using, because why do you need to have 30,000 things taking up so much memory? It doesn't make any sense. And so that's why I built that. And so here again, if you just run it like this is the default settings. If you want to actually create some filters here, you can do like this. Backtest settings, gain percent filters equals 10, let's just say. QF filter is 0.5, let's say. Total trades is 10, and then the record size is 500. Okay, and so these are some of the filters that you can apply based off of whatever it is that you're looking for. And when you run it, you'll see that it shows up like that. I just reran what we were looking at just to show you guys a better results, I guess you could say, as far as like what is actually going to show up here. And so you can see here we have our gains percent. It's looking a lot better. Win rate, you can see here, it only took 4 trades. I guess it won all of them. And so you can see here the QF score is different, 0.69, 0.88, 0.89, 0.9, you know, and so on and so on. And so here, you'll be able to see that we have this showing up for, that's going to tell you what our QF score is. And so here we have this 2, and we're grabbing this. So this is a 0.9. And if we have a 0.975, let's go and grab that. So this is 1. You're going to be learning about this later on, so you don't have to worry about this right now. I'm just showing you. So this is basically kind of close to the same, but it's a little bit slightly more to the upside here towards the end. Okay. But anyways, that's why having a QF score basically is like, you know, letting you know how straight to the upside your cumulative P&L is. For today's video, we're going to be going over the static order settings. And so what you'll need to do is from quantfreedom.enums, import static order settings, increase position type, leverage strategy type, stop loss strategy type, take profit strategy type. And you'll also need quantfreedom.utils, import QF, a pretty QF. And so what this is basically going to do here is set up certain things for our backtester and our order that is, for the most part, not going to change. Okay. And for the most part, I mean, literally is not going to change until we actually wanted to change it after the backtest is over. And so here we have the static order settings. So as always, this is subject to change. You guys have already heard it a million times if you've made it this far. Ask in the Discord and check the website for any updates to this. So we have this increased position type. Now, there are multiple different types of this. As of right now, there's these 5, but as time goes on, there will possibly be more. Some will be taken away. But for the sake of this strategy, what we're going to do here is we're going to choose risk percent account entry size. So what this basically means is I want my entry size to be based around how much of my account that I want to risk. Okay, so if I have $1,000 in my equity, then, and I say that I want to risk 1% of that per trade, well, then that means that before having won or lost any trades, we would end up having risk $10. Okay, because 10 is 1% of 1,000. Okay, so that's what this is basically saying. Whatever my equity is, I want to risk the certain percentage of that. And we're gonna, once we get into the dynamic order settings and stuff like that, we're gonna go over those things. Here, the leverage type, as of right now, we only have 2, which is static and dynamic. Dynamic will basically change your leverage to be like 0.01% or 0.001% below your stop loss. So that way you will use a high amount, as high a possible leverage as you can, which will allow you to have as much unused cash as possible, which means you can enter more trades. You can go and enter more trades on other coins and other things like that, because you're not using up all of your available balance. So the higher the leverage that you use, the more you're borrowing. Okay. And leverage is not as scary as everybody on the internet makes it out to be. Most of the people don't actually have any idea how leverage works. And so if you have any questions about that, again, join the Discord, and or not join the Discord. Well, join the Discord and ask the Discord. PG min max stop loss break even candle body type. So this is if you're going to use the stop loss strategy type, which is what we're doing here, which is based on candle body. So it's like, well, I'm basically saying, put my stop loss at the low, put my stop loss at the high, put my stop loss at the whatever. So based on the candle body. Okay, and so that's what we have chosen here. And so for this is going to be a long strategy. And so I'm going to base my stop loss on the low of the candles. So I'm going to say, let's look back 10 candles, 20 candles, whatever it is. And out of those 20 candles, give me the minimum price. Give me the minimum, whatever is the minimum. So this is going to help you find it. And let's say if you were shorting, you'd probably want to go based off the high, and you'd want to say, give me the maximum, right? And so this is where you'd want to put either min or max. And then our stop loss strategy type, again, there's multiples, or I think there's multiples. No, well, actually, there's only one right now, but that is subject to change, obviously. But this is the strategy types, okay? And again, each one of these strategy types is going to have information about it as well on the website, so go ahead and check those out. There should also eventually be videos associated with it as well. But again, if you have any questions about any of these strategy types, the website or Discord is going to be your best bet for a deeper dive into it. And so for this strategy, we're going to say I don't want to move my stop loss to break even. The starting bar is going to be 15. So what that basically means is, let's say that we have an EMA of like 20. Well, the first couple of like 21, bar 21, 22, 23, 24, those are going to be a little bit crazy because there's not that much information there to average. You know, if we're only like at bar 23, well, there's only 3 bars to look at to grab an EMA average, or there's 23 bars. So usually the average starts to kick up maybe around like bar 30 or bar 40 or bar 50, let's say. That's when it starts to really get solid, because there's enough information there to calculate a pretty good solid average. And so that's what this is right here. Is I want to start at bar 50, because I know that any bars previous to that, the numbers get kind of crazy, because there's just not enough information there to generate enough average. So that's what starting bar is. Starting equity is pretty self-explanatory. You know, we're starting with 1,000. The static leverage, we're using dynamic. So if we were using static, then we'd obviously have to provide like, you know, a static leverage that's always going to be used. The take profit fee type, you could be trying to mark it out, you could be trying to limit out, you could be trying to whatever. In this situation, since we are going to be exiting based off of the indicator, we'll just need to mark it, because that's just what we're going to do. Mark it. Okay. And the take profit strategy type, we have risk to reward. Here we have provided. So we are going to be using provided for this strategy, because we are going to be providing our exits like we've already seen in the previous video. Okay. And then we want to also trail our stop loss. So trail stop loss bool. So we're going to say true. And then this Z or E is basically zero or entry type. And that's going to be associated with a stop loss to break even. And so here you'd either put 0 or you'd put entry in actual word. So you'd type in 0 or you type in entry. And that would decide whether or not you want to move your stop loss to for break even, to make it so that way if you get stopped out you lose $0, or if you move it to entry, because if you move it to your entry, there's still fees associated with that, and so you're not actually going to be breaking even if you move your stop loss to entry. You're going to actually lose money based off of how much fees you have to pay. And 0 is going to move your stop loss like slightly in front of your average entry, in order to make sure that you actually lose like basically $0. And so that's what all of these, that's what all of this static order settings is for. And so you'll see here, we run it like this. Okay. And that's the static order settings. All right, we've got the dynamic order settings arrays showing up now for what it is we're going to be learning. And so first we're going to have to import numpy as np. Next, we'll have to do from quantfreedom.enums import dynamic order settings arrays and candle body type. And then we'll also from quantfreedom.utils import prettyqf. Okay, so what do we have? What is associated with this? Again, as always, as of right now, this is the way it is. Any updates are on the website or in the Discord if you have questions. So the dynamic order settings array, we have our maximum equity risk. And so let's say that I'm basically saying here, the maximum I want to have at risk with any of my trades right now is 12% of my equity. okay? And that is going to be associated with risk account percent size. So this is 3. So if we do 3 divided by 12, that means we can get into basically 4 separate trades. And then we would be at 12% total risk, and then it'll stop. We can't, we're just, there's no more entering here, okay? And so the next thing, maximum trades. Maximum trades is associated when you are not using your risk account percent size or any of this other risk stuff, because if we're talking about risk, we're going to be, our max equity risk is going to be the thing that determines how many trades that we're entering. And if we're not using max equity risk, then our max trades is what will determine how many trades that we can get into. Okay, and then here we have our risk to reward. Again, I set this to 0 because we're going to be providing the exits, and so we're not going to be doing anything associated with that here. But obviously, risk to reward is, you put your stop loss, and then your risk to reward goes, 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1, 5 to 1, and so you can put multiples there. So here, talking about multiples, we have our stop loss based on add percent. So this is basically saying, hey, if we have a stop loss and it's based on a candle body, we want to maybe, like, let's say we're going to put our stop loss at the low. Sometimes you might want to put it directly at the low, where you could put 0. So let's put 0 here. And, or you could put, I want to add an extra 0.05%. I want to test it out to see how we do if we add 0.1%. I want to see how we do if we add a 0.15%, and so on and so on. So you could test a whole bunch of different possibilities with this. And then here we have our stop loss based on look back. And so here I'm saying look back 20 candles from where we're at and tell me whatever the lowest candle is at that point, put my stop loss there. Okay. And so that's what this means. Again, you could have it like, I want to test looking back 20 candles. I want to test looking back 50 candles. And so it'll do all of that. And so here, this right here is if we have chosen, this BCB means based on candle body. So the stop loss based on candle body type, if we have chosen it, we need to put a candle body type. And here I'm saying candle body type dot low. So because I'm doing a long, I want to have it set to the candle body low. And then here, this is stop loss to break even candle body type. So this is, we're not going to be working with this. And so we're just going to put nothing here. But this to break even basically means it's going to be associated with this. And so what this is saying is, I want to move my stop loss to break even when we are X% away from the low, the high, the close, the open of a candle body. So what would happen is, we'd get to a certain candle. It would check to see if our average entry is this % away from whatever candle body that we are saying right here for the current candle that it's looking at. If we are, then it'll move the stop loss, and if we're not, then we won't. But again, we've already chosen that we're not going to move our stop loss to break even, and so this can just be nothing, and this can just be 0. So here, this is trailing stop loss based on candle body type. So here we are saying, and it's also going to be associated with this and this. And so what we're saying here is when the price, right here, when the price is 1% away from the current candle low, trail my stop loss by 0.5%. Okay? And then as it trails, we're basically saying, is the low 1% away from or more, or yeah, is the low let's do this. Okay, so we have this, and we're gonna say here our stop loss would be like right here. Okay, and so let's say that the price is right here. We are, let's just say our stop loss thing is like 0.5%. Okay, and so what would happen here is that, and we're choosing the low. So our stop loss is there, And then next thing you know, okay, well, now we're here. So we're going to trail. Now we trail it. And then as it moves up, it moves up, it moves up, it moves up. Here we're 0.5% away. So right here, we're 0.5% away. And so now we're going to trail it up a little bit. And then here we're not, as price comes down and then we come up, boom, the next low is right here. So now we're going to go ahead and trail our stop loss up. And we're going to move it up to here. We get our low like this. We move our stop loss to like right here. And now we're going to come up to here. And I guess the low, let's say the low is right here. And then as you can see here, we don't have any more lows. Boom, 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 boom. And then we get stopped out. So that's the way this whole trailing situation works. And so that's what we're saying here with all of this. All right. And again, hopefully that makes sense. Again, as always, if it doesn't, you're hitting the website or you're hitting the Discord to ask some questions.